Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Captain Logan Show. 'Tis I, Captain Logan, and broadcasting from a gym in an undisclosed location. It's my wonderful chat moderator and producer, DJ Martinez.
What?
How's it going, man?
Oh, it's going good, man. I'm pumped.
Well, clearly, it looks like you might have been pumping some iron there in the background.
Oh no, this is just my. This is just where I record from. This is my new man cave. No, I am out of town. I'm not in an actual gym. I am at a relative's house in a different state.
I really wanted to make a joke about that being the same room as before. We're just on the other side of it now.
Yes, I thought of the same thing. I actually wanted to shoot back there, like on the pool table, and see there's like a window and like the same kind of arch that is in my house, and I wanted to like start with saying that like my entire collection got like stolen or something. Like I had to get rid of the collection, but there's no outlet over there. I couldn't sit over there.
Just devastate everybody. My joke was a great deal more, and it's not even April Fool's Day anymore. My joke was a great deal more benign. It would have just been, okay, so I've never flipped the camera around before. You guys, like
this room is actually gigantic.
The movies are still back there, but if I record over here, we can pack 15 people in working out.
No, I wish my kids' playroom was this big. My kids' playroom is tiny. I can't even get my lights in there. It's very small, but this place is huge.
That is a serious gym back there.
Yeah, I'm at my in-laws. It looks like they've got a bike, an elliptical, and two ellipticals and a treadmill.
Are they as fit as they look like they must be?
I don't know if they use this.
It's just there, you know, just in case. It's for when company comes over. You're supposed to be using them, DJ. That's the guest room.
Well, I'm filming a video with my friend from Kansas. I don't have time to be working out.
So anyway, welcome back, folks. Thanks a lot for watching. We took a week off. We're back at show 201, so we'll try to make it more exciting than that number sounds. We're going to do a lead-in topic here in a minute, but first I want to make a couple announcements. Tonight we're going to do a Super Chat goal for the first time in a real long time. Tonight the goal is $125. We're going to shoot for at least an hour. If the Super Chats are still coming in and we've got a lot of questions, we'll go past that. I don't know if we'll do a full 2 hours today because we're starting later, and we may have to do this for the foreseeable future. As I've said before, by the way, my life is real up in the air with my twins and their patterns and routines and schedule changing, and so they're going to bed earlier, and it's more difficult for my wife to pile everybody in the car and go pick up my son from dance. I know this isn't interesting to anybody, but it's making it a lot harder for her to do that during this show, especially without a lot of crying and screaming on camera, which we heard a couple of weeks ago. And you know, I was plowing through that and making the best of it, but Sarah felt bad about it, and she was like, yeah, like it's 5 minutes of your show where everybody can hear the girls crying. And she was clearly a little bit stressed out about it, so I said, well, I'll go pick him up. We'll start later. And DJ graciously said he would make the attempt to do that for a little bit. So at least for right now, next couple weeks or so, we're going to start at 8 o'clock on Thursday, and DJ and I are kicking around other possibilities for how to handle this situation. But anyway, so tonight we're going to go for, like I said, at least an hour. The goal tonight is $125. If we meet that, I will promise to do a reaction video, a blind commentary on the pilot, the first episode for Strange New Worlds, a show that, the new Star Trek show, which obviously I would love to be great, but am not really expecting it to be anything but the horribleness it's been, and this will be the first time I've done this, reacting in real time to one of the terrible Kurtzman new Trek shows. And I don't want to call it terrible until I've seen it, but none of these things have been good, and, you know, fool me once, but fool me 6 times. And it's a spin-off of Discovery. It's the first actual spin-off of that we've had. It's Anson Mount, who is spectacular as Pike, but has not been given good material. He's getting his own show, and I assume we'll have people spending a lot of time telling him how much arrogance and hubris he has, just like with Picard. But I guess we'll see. And I mean, I'll keep as open a mind as humanly possible with this. But like I said, you know, fool me 6 times. Anyway, so I will do that if we meet that super chat goal tonight. Otherwise, I don't even promise that I'm gonna watch any of that show at all. And I mean, yeah,
that's amazing. Make that happen, guys, because I want to see that video, because that sounds fun.
The other thing I want to mention is I'm going to try and experiment for Patreon. I feel like I don't have enough cool Patreon content right now. We're still doing After Dark twice a month, but we're not doing... We've moved to a completely live model lately on the channel, as you might have noticed, and that's been going really well, and I want to thank everybody for participating in so many of these shows. The fact that there's always some kind of an audience that pops in makes it a lot more exciting for me. It gives me more of an incentive to do live shows and do them more often, so you guys are really neat. There's always, no matter what the topic is, there's always at least a few people that pop in and participate, and somehow or rather, DJ, there's always an expert. Like, no matter what it is I'm talking about, there's always somebody that comes in that knows it better than I do and can give me new information and tidbits, and it's so freaking cool. Like, I've said before that I'm kind of addicted to live streaming. I'm addicted to it to the point where, and I mean, you know, it's kind of nice to be lazy and not have to edit anything. I don't have time to edit right now, which is a lot of the reason I'm doing that, but it's really fun. It makes me want to do everything that way because there's always somebody there that brings something to the table and you know, gives me a lot that I didn't have before. And then I don't have to look at comments later going, hey, Cap, how did you not know that? Somebody could just tell me it in the first place, and then I don't look quite as dumb.
Yeah, you can like correct yourself in real time, which is great. It's like doing research. It's like real-time research that you don't have to actually read. It just is shoved into your eye hole. I guess you have to read their questions, but you don't have to
your eye hole.
You don't have to sift through a book. No, it's great. I love live streaming too. I that's the reason I was doing it a little bit, even though I only had like 15 guys there. But just talking to, it's just like talking to friends. It's really it like the fact that you're making a video just kind of falls right out of your head. You're just having fun talking to people.
Well, and it goes so well with what the kind of mission statement of the channel always was, where it was always more of a community and a lot less of me just showing up and talking at you. And so now I'm going to announce a thing that's going to be just me showing up talking at you. So I'm going to do an experiment for Patreon where I'm going to do I'm gonna shoot a pilot for it and see how it goes. It's basically it's a new series. It's gonna be a Patreon exclusive, and I don't want to promise yet how often I'm doing these. I'd like to make it 5 days a week, and it's one of those things where I just don't know if I can you know, keep to that kind of a schedule for anything. These will be very short and hopefully timed. But the idea, and I say hopefully because I'm terrible at sticking to a timer, but my plan, DJ, and I've thought about doing this for a long time. I've been talking with DJ back and forth, by the way, about ideas for new Patreon content. This is a thing I haven't even told him about yet, but a thing that, like I said, I've been kicking around forever, so I'm finally going to try it. I want to do a real, raw, personal, like Captain's personal log thing for Patreon. So the format of this will be either right before I go to bed or right when I get up in the morning. I'm going to turn on a camera and I'm going to talk for somewhere between 5 or 10 minutes. And I'm going to pull a piece of paper out of a hat or something, and there's going to be a whole bunch of, and I might let Patreon help me decide what these are, a whole bunch of just singular words, and I'm going to do a log, a little discussion, just based on whatever that word is, and
Skyfall.
Yeah, exactly. Just like where does it take us? Because I feel like I can do, you know, half an hour on anything. And like I said, I'm not gonna make this half an hour. I'm gonna try to make it like 10 minutes. But I just like I always have like a million ideas, and my imagination runs away with me. And I feel like it would be kind of a fun challenge to just like see if I can come up with something coherent and halfway interesting based on just a singular word. But I want it to kind of be like a daily calendar kind of thing, where it's just a thing that like maybe you get up in the morning and you just hang out with me for 5 or 10 minutes, and this won't be live. It will be a shot pre-recorded, or I might shoot it live on Patreon, but I don't expect anybody will show up for it because it'll be either, again, really late at night or really early in the morning. It'll be just for that smaller Patreon audience. But I want to give our patrons a little bit more extra content, and I want it to be kind of just a, fun daily kind of, nugget of something. I hesitate saying insight or wisdom but just hopefully something kind of positive that you know, you can take with you through your day, and that's the plan. So I'm gonna make the attempt. I'm gonna see if it turns into anything, and if it sucks, I'll quit doing it very quickly. But that's my thinking, and I hope some folks will pop in and take a look at it and let me know if it seems worth doing, and I might do a separate announcement video for it or something so that folks know about it. And anyway, I'll probably shoot the first one of those in the next couple of days, and like I said, my goal would be to do it on a daily basis through the week, but even 2 or 3 times a week. Be just some kind of fun extra content for you. So anyway, $125 tonight. If we can get to that, I will do the pilot for Strange New Worlds, and a little bit later in the show, we're going to take 1 or 2 phone calls. So look forward to that as well. We're gonna do the call-in thing again, DJ. And right now, let's go ahead and do the lead-in topic. DJ, I don't understand anything about the Morbius movie.
Oh, I thought you were just going to stop there. I don't understand anything.
Anything. The word for the day is anything. Oh, I don't understand it, first of all. DJ, I don't understand the Morbius movie. I don't know why Sony thought that was the next thing they should do after Venom with their Spider-Man universe without Spider-Man. I don't understand why
maybe
Jared
they talked to
Leto
Avi Arad and
wanted to make that. I don't understand why since they started filming, Sony seemed to very quickly stop even really caring about the project. I don't understand why it's been pushed back 100,000 times and it turned into what looked like kind of a New Mutant situation. But then now that it's finally out, I don't understand why it seems to sort of be performing. This movie only cost somewhere around, what, 75, 80 million to make, and it's already at 90 million. It's only been out a week and a half. It had a $40 million opening weekend domestically, and I don't know how. Like, that might sound low, guys, but that's near Ant-Man numbers. And I think a lot of people thought that it was going to really super bomb. My thinking, because Venom shocked me, and at least Venom's a character that people have heard of, and people are a fan of that, even if they don't know a lot about that character. Like, he looks cool, so people buy, you know, merchandise and stuff with Venom. Oh, look how badass he is, it's Venom. Nobody knows what Morbius is, and you didn't even...
And he does not look cool.
You didn't even get... No, and you didn't even give us... I mean, I think he looks better than some other people did, but by the way, I have not seen that movie yet. I'm going to be reviewing that with Dan on Sunday night. Dan has seen it, and I won't tell you his opinion, but it won't shock you. And I'm gonna go watch that Saturday. I took this last weekend off, so I didn't go to the theater and see anything. So I'm a week behind. We're gonna do Morbius this week. The week after, we're gonna do Sonic. So we're a week behind on everything. And but yeah, like the premise wasn't even in the title. How do you just call it Morbius? Like, why isn't it called Morbius the Living Vampire, where you'd at least like know what the idea of the movie was gonna be?
Yeah, in a world where we have all of these overlong superhero titles with like sentences shoved in, but
the party here apparently. He just came down the stairs, brought his headphones. He's like, "I'm doing the show, Dad." Here we are. Well, hello, Jason.
Hello. You have no say in the matter.
How you doing, man?
Okay.
Okay, so yeah, I don't know if Jason's gonna have anything to say about this, but Jason, what's with all the crinkling? What is that?
Fruit snacks.
Oh yeah, why'd you bring down your fruit snacks? People hate it when we eat on camera.
He just wanted to have his fruit snacks and talk to people while he does it.
Yeah.
Jason, you have lowered the professionalism on this show from 0 to less than 0. I mean, we're never going to make that Super Chat goal now.
Mutali says Morbius,
Oh,
let
you
there
have
be
a Super
plasma.
Chat goal?
Yeah, we have a Super Chat goal. We had a shot at it, and then this happened.
Dang it.
I'm just kidding.
Everyone left.
Do you need help opening that?
No.
You couldn't even open your fruit snacks before you came down the stairs. Hey, show everybody your Sonic shirt. Or your Hedgehog shirt. This shirt is amazing.
Oh my gosh.
It's a like more real looking hedgehog, but it's like this generic hedgehog shirt where it does everything it can to not get sued, but it's not Sega licensed. I love that hoodie so much. Brandon found that. He sent me a picture of it. I was like, yes, I'm gonna wear that everywhere. He goes, it's Jason sized. I was like, I guess we'll just give it to Jason. Jason, have you seen trailers for Morbius?
I have seen one trailer for Morbius.
Does it look like a thing you want to see?
No.
Does it look like a thing you think anybody would want to see?
Maybe if they're super hardcore.
Hardcore what?
Marvel fan. Watch everything.
Well, and I mean, I guess that's what they're trying to appeal to, and that's what they do, right? Is when, and this is not strictly MCU, of course, although I'm seeing articles calling it an MCU movie. I guess now that we've had No Way Home, DJ, where we've got the multiverse, now people can get away with calling anything that has, that's Marvel an MCU movie, because, oh, well, by extension...
Yeah, everyone's starting to lump it together. Well, everyone's always lumped it together, but now I can't even get mad at them or correct them because it's like they have ammunition to fire back at me.
I mean, you can. I think it's fair that you have an opinion about this, DJ, but...
Oh, man.
Yeah, so I didn't think the trailers for that movie looked anything like as bad as a lot of people did, but it still looks really generic and mediocre and like it was made 17 years ago. And... a lot of, I mean, I'm not actively reading reviews, but the few titles that I've stumbled on have been saying things like it's really dated, and it seems like a mid-2000s movie, all the stuff that we were hearing about Venom. And yet, it looks like it's at least making its money back, and if it doesn't have massive drop-offs the next couple of weeks, it's probably going to perform. Could you imagine if Sony decided, after it seems like they didn't care about this movie 2 days after they greenlit it, could you believe if they went, you know what, yeah, let's make a sequel to that?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I think it depends on what's coming out. Is there any competition coming out? I know nothing else came out this last week with it.
You've got Sonic 2 this weekend.
That's true.
And that will probably perform okay. It's hard to say if it'll do as well as the first one, but with not a lot of competition. Certainly Morbius isn't going to be too much competition for that movie, and that's going to be different audiences for the most part, at least aimed at different audiences, right?
Yeah, Sonic will definitely be number one. Just like Morbius was pretty much guaranteed number one, because the number two movie was that like Sandra Bullock author movie where Channing Tatum, and then like that was in its second week, and then Batman was in its fifth week. So yeah, I think yes, Sonic might be a different audience though. I mean, the kids are gonna. I think the kids would rather see Sonic than Morbius.
Sure. Well, the question is, will we have? That was the article I saw, DJ, where somebody was like, "Why?" And I didn't read the article, but it said, "Why Morbius should have been the MCU's first R-rated movie," and I'm like. I mean, I can see why you're saying that movie ought to have gotten an R rating, having not seen it. Just with premise and stuff, you could make a really cool, I guess, rated R Morbius movie. But I mean, I don't think. Well, I can't even remember now. Were the Blade movies rated R? I guess they were.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, that's a good reason to sort of expect that, because that was. But I mean, it's not MCU.
Yeah. Why would he say the first MCU?
I don't know.
Nobody knows what's going on anymore.
Nobody understands how anything works. And we don't either, because nothing works the way it's supposed to.
Yeah, we can't hold things to make sense anymore.
Morbius was supposed to be a villain in one of the Blade movies. I think Blade Trinity was supposed to use him, and that fell through for whatever reason, and then they cast a real generic bad guy, and that movie is infamously dull and no good at all. And now we've got Morbius on his own, disconnected from Blade. Like, if that was a character that had been introduced in the Blade movies, then I think he would have maybe had some legs, and you could have seen him spin off from that later on. But just to, like, it's even worse than the Venom thing, because at least Venom has already had kind of a proven following as a solo character in stuff. Like, it was already weird to just give him his own movie and not make it a spin-off. Like, it seems like we keep doing this where we're spinning off movies from nothing. Like, these things all look like spin-offs, but they didn't come from anything in the first place.
Yeah, and it'd be like if we just had an Elektra movie that referenced Daredevil, but we didn't have the Daredevil movie.
Yeah, Brian, I'm sorry. I just, in the moment there, couldn't remember because it's been so long since I've seen those movies. But then I was remembering the blood raining down in the first movie, and how for a while that was too much for me and I couldn't watch those movies. And then Daniel Davis says Blade 2 was supposed to be Morbius. Not Trinity? Okay. I'm rusty. It's been 8 years since I've written about any of these. Blade Neo. Thanks for that contribution. I'm really glad you came down.
Yeah. DJ, can I ask you a question?
Sure thing.
Where the heck are you?
Oh, sorry, you got to go back. We already talked about this. No,
you should have watched
I'm
the
out of
first
town.
5 minutes of the video
I
before you
didn't.
came down and crashed the video.
Yeah, we already wasted like the first 10 minutes talking about it. But
Oh.
yeah, I'm out of town.
Oh, okay.
Traveling on the road. Geekvolution on the road. Not actually on the road in the car with 5 children behind me, because that's crazy. Who would do that?
The only thing crazier would be if you assumed I was driving when I was clearly sitting on the other side.
You could have been in England. Who knows?
Anyway, so DJ, what is going on with this? Sorry, the point of this lead-in topic was I think the numbers are crazy, and they don't seem to correlate with everything I'm hearing from people. Like, people are not liking the movie. Again, I've not seen it yet. It seems like pretty much unanimously it's either dull and uninspired to the worst thing ever. That's the spectrum.
Yeah, it's got like
I'm
a
seeing.
17% with critics.
Say again?
And it has like a 17% on Rotten Tomatoes, I think.
That's
It has like a
even
really low
higher than
cinema
I
score, like
expected.
C+. Like, it seems to be pretty unanimous. There's some people in the chat saying that they actually enjoyed it. I think Professor Zoom said he liked it.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm not expecting to go in and actually enjoy that movie, but I don't want to not let that happen if it's going to. I was talking to Dan about that today. I was like, but what if I like it? And he was like, well, I mean, you do you, man.
We can't be friends anymore, but yeah, you do you.
The after credit scenes are already infamous. That's all anybody's talking about is how apparently insane and messed up something they do after the credits is. And
Yeah, I've heard both. Yeah, I've heard that it seems kind of rushed because they had to make it up after No Way Home because this was supposed to come out before No Way Home, so it's like they just shoved together a after credit scene. I don't know. Hopefully,
no. So it's gonna be something multiverse, right?
I mean, it can't be worse than the Venom 2 one that you told me about. I guess it can be. I don't know.
I wouldn't think it would be possible. Did you not stay and see that part?
I haven't even seen Venom 2.
Oh, good call. I'm sorry. I thought you were talking about the after credit scene with Venom in Spider-Man because I think that's the worst thing ever.
Yeah, that is the worst thing ever. That's hilarious. It would have been. See, and that's
the one after Venom 2 is dumb. The one after No Way Home with Venom is dumb
Doesn't make
and
any sense.
awful.
Yeah, it's the worst.
Well, I guess they're both kind of bad. But anyway, but yeah, I said before this came out that I was alluding to this earlier that because I can't predict anything, and Venom made nearly $1 billion in the first place, and the second movie did pretty well too, and looking at what that is, and then it feels like a relic from the mid-2000s, I cannot get my mind around those movies doing as well as they are. I said that Morbius was either going to do really well somehow or be absolutely tank. And it looks like it's sort of doing the former. I mean, it helps that movie... I mean, it's not doing gangbusters. That movie's not going to even break 300 probably, but it helps that it wasn't made with a huge budget. I mean, 75-80 million, that's a relatively small budget for that kind of a movie, and it's kind of the approach that Joker took. I mean, I want to look at that budget and get half excited about it if I hadn't already heard a bunch of people that I trust say this is really awful. It's hard to get as excited when I hear that, but like with the Joker thing, this is the kind of movie where it would make a lot of sense to make a more gritty, kind of small scale, more intimate kind of horror thing. You know, you give all your money to the star and the makeup, and then everything else you just go in some alleyways and you shoot. Like,
yeah, you should. I mean, if you're gonna do this, you should at least like give it your all. It just seems like a generic superhero movie, but with Morbius, like it would have definitely liked better if it had just stuck to its roots and just gone full.
having not seen it yet, my prediction... Well, and they should have just adapted the 90s Spider-Man animated series Morbius stuff.
Like, I need plasma.
Plasma! He should have the things in his hands.
Alicia. Was it Alicia?
Felicia!
Felicia. Oh, and if he was wearing the trench coat with the blue slick-backed hair, that would be amazing.
Yeah, and it wouldn't be great if they got Leto to actually go really over the top and do that crazy accent.
Oh, he does. Didn't he just do that in like that Ridley Scott movie last year? Like, that's what he likes to do, is be all these crazy over the top characters.
Well, why is he just using his normal person voice in this?
I don't know.
I don't understand that. He's like all reserved, like, I'm Michael Morbius. I'm like, don't you mean Michael Morbius? Like, where's your accent?
Where's your Igor voice?
Felicia.
You just sounded like I would love that if someone just did the whole movie in the voice that Robin Williams uses when he says he can't bring someone back from the dead. I
can't bring people back from the dead.
Oh man, but no, it's just Jared Leto, man.
Anyway, so if anybody has any theories about the disconnect with, like, nobody seems to be, at least, my circles, because like I always say, we're all in echo chambers to some degree with the internet, at least. It's impossible not to be, or if not echo chambers, just, kind of like in your own communities, right? Like,
well, somebody at my work
with Geekvolution is talking about this movie in memes and making fun of it, but not with people like actually seeing it and liking it. I guess there's some people in the comments that are saying they're liking it, okay, but like the Discords and stuff, all I'm seeing is either that was horrible or look at this dumb face that Jared Leto's making, and then it just seems like people aren't really talking about this movie, and yet somehow it did 40 opening weekend. And it seems like if something doesn't like break 100, it didn't do well. But against a 70 these days, against a $75-80 million budget, that's a really respectable opening weekend. And I don't feel like I should be able to use the word respectable talking about this movie.
No, and what's important is it came out at what was projected. It's not like it didn't do less than projected. It's not going crazy doing more than projected. It's like a normal movie. Like the analysts were actually right, and it's making like what it's supposed to. So I mean,
I didn't know that's what the analysts said. I thought it must be going against projections, but
that's newsworthy these days when movies are like a roller coaster. We have no idea like movies are all over the place these days. We have no idea what's gonna stick. It seems like.
Well, and does that mean that people just are back to the theater now, full stop?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, not obviously we're not back to like 2019 numbers, but I think we're pretty close.
Like, are there people just going to the theater in a weekend and going, I'll see whatever's out, or did people like go specifically for that movie?
I don't know. I think it's just more the former, because I know
how did people even know about it? Like, for Sony, that's a really small ad campaign. Like, I saw enough ads that it felt like a normal movie, but that means that Sony didn't care about it. Because if Sony really thought this was going to perform, you would have seen a 5.5-minute trailer and 900 TV spots. And that didn't happen with this.
No, and I assume that's probably because it was a lower budget movie. They didn't want to sink that much into it, but that was smart of them because they don't have to. It doesn't have to work as hard to make back its budget. Like some movies, Morbius is not going to be a $1 billion movie no matter how good it is. Like you gotta have movies that are lower budgets.
But the advertising they did do was super generic, and I don't think they represented what it is or what it should be real well. But I haven't seen the movie, so I don't just mean in the way the trailers are cut though. Did you see the posters for this that make it look like a direct-to-video movie, where it's like Marvel? What was it? I could look it up. Marvel's like next legend begins or something, or like the next Marvel legend or something.
All I saw is I just kept seeing the TV spots on YouTube over and over and over and over for every video I was watching on YouTube, which was like just about him like being sick and like if you could find a cure, would you? And then it was him in a wheelchair, and then he was like a cure, and then it was like and then it was done. Like it didn't tell me at all what it was about.
So look at this, Morbius, a new Marvel legend arrives.
Oh my goodness.
That's awful. Arrives. It's like, you might as well say, we don't know anything about this character, or somebody made a movie based on a Marvel comic, and we're selling it. I know that wouldn't all fit on a poster, but that's basically what it's saying.
A new Marvel legend rises.
It's so bad.
That's hilarious.
It looks like it was made in 1997.
It doesn't even look that great.
No, I mean, like, they're selling it on his hair. Anyway, we should...
I just hope they're not selling it on that vampire face, and I hope it's not like in the movie for like 15 seconds.
Yeah. I was a little bit concerned about that myself. Sort of like the Venom face in Spider-Man 3.
Yeah. Or like, Ghost Rider movies where like the villain was just a guy in a boy band for like the whole movie, and then he gets red eyes at the end, and that's like it.
Remember that? And
just
then
like a pretty boy for the whole movie.
Yeah, and he's got this whole group of villains that all have elemental motifs, and Ghost Rider kills them all really easily, one by one throughout the movie. Like he's a slasher villain or something.
Even though he's fire, which like all of those three can put out fire. Earth, wind, and water can all put out fire, but for some reason he's stronger than
That's
Wet
a good
Man.
point. It'd be like if it was rock, paper, scissors, and he was paper, but he won every time. Like, no matter what it was.
And that's what those fights amounted to in that movie. They were rock, paper, scissors fights. It was just like 1, 2, 3, next, and they just moved on to the next villain.
And he's mentioning Ghost Rider because Morbius looks like Ghost Rider.
Well, and
But worse.
I thought that was funny. The Honest Trailers guys, they usually do like you did with Rewinds, where you do a movie that somehow related to the one, and they did the Ghost Rider movies this week because that's the closest thing to the Morbius movie, which made me laugh.
I'm hoping when I can get back to more regular, at least off the cuff, unscripted superhero rewinds, I can start doing that kind of thing again, where I do, more related things. And Austin and I want to do the Morbius episodes for commentaries from
that would be so
animated
much
Spider-Man.
fun.
We were planning on doing that back when it was supposed to release in February or March or whatever it was, and then it got pushed back, and so then we waited, and then time got away from us, and we had other things we had to do, and I took a week off, and now the movie's out already, so we'll do it soon.
Is that part of the Sins of the Father season, or is that
Yes.
the Neogenic Nightmare season?
Almost, or is it Neogenic Nightmare? I
It
can't.
might be Neogenic
I think
Nightmare.
it's
It might
season
tie
2.
into the Man Spider stuff. I can't remember.
It's all running together for me right now, but I'm pretty sure it's season 2, which is Neogenic.
No, I think it's season 2. I can't remember which one that is.
Well,
so if it's
Neogenic Nightmare, I'm almost
Okay.
positive. Anyway,
Yeah.
let's go ahead and start taking some questions. We're already half an hour in, and we've got a super chat goal tonight, and we haven't done one question yet. So if people want to talk any more about this, feel free to. I belabored this like crazy, and Jason crashed just to get bored. So DJ, if you see any questions that would be fun for Jason to talk about, feel free to front load those. And Jason, if you have a question, you'll owe me money later, but feel free to go ahead and ask it
Okay.
as well, because that could be fun. Yeah.
Or I just give you money.
No, you have to give me money. I was kidding.
Oh.
That was a joke. All right.
Oh,
well,
man.
You
what do you
Well, we got some Star Trek
Stuff.
stuff.
oh,
in the
good.
Superchat.
Let's do that. I say oh
the-
good unless it's new Trek, and then I don't want to talk about it.
Well then, Jason, the morally, this is from the morally ambiguous Professor X.
Hi
for
there.
$5. Speaking of morally ambiguous,
great.
how do you feel about Picard getting a third and final season with most of the original main TNG cast starring/returning?
So,
Okay.
what? Yeah.
All right.
Obviously, I can't get excited about this because of the people who are writing on that show and what they're giving pre-existing characters to do in the first place. Picard's not Picard. 7 of 9's not 7 of 9. Almost said 7 of 9's not Picard. 7 of 9's not 7 of 9.
Not.
Et cetera, et cetera. Riker and Troy were a little more in character, I guess. They were a little better, except Troy had to go out of her way constantly to tell Picard how horrible he was when he hadn't done anything. I don't know what she was talking about. I never know what Raffi's talking about when she does that. So no, of course, I can't bring myself to get excited about that. It's nostalgia baiting, clearly, and don't get me wrong, if you're gonna do a Picard show, I can see why people would want to see all those characters come back and somewhere through the run. Like we already had, and I'll say I would like to see that too. At least a lot of them. Because, if you're just kind of forcing everybody in there without any kind of real, natural way to get them into a story, don't do that. But
They just walk through portals projected by a teenage Asian kid.
it can't be difficult to come up with, through a 3-season run, a way to get each of those characters into the show. We've already had now Riker and Troy and Guinan in the second season, and Q. So it looks like we're just kind of going to shove together. We have a teaser that just gives us some line readings from each of those actors. And I will say, they're clearly shooting that season already, and it's kind of nice that they didn't just put names on the screen and then we actually got to hear some material. I'll give them that, like, they released that on First Contact Day. Every year they make a big deal out of First Contact Day. They're trying to make it the new May the 4th. It's not working. Nobody cares except for the few Star Trek fans that are excited about that. And yeah, and the few Star Trek fans that are actually, you know, paying attention to New Trek and buying into it. And they, I mean, maybe saying few isn't fair, but they can't have the numbers they're pretending like they have. I think it's really hilarious, I'll say this real quick, that that teaser had like 120,000 views on Paramount Plus's YouTube channel in 2 days for a big giant announcement about bringing back the entire main TNG cast. It had like small YouTube channel numbers. Like, that's crazy. And I'm not a prude about YouTube numbers. I don't mean to make a big deal out of that, but for a big mainstream announcement for a Hollywood property, DJ, nothing gets 100,000 views. Like, even some people nobody cares about gets at least 500 to 1 million just because it's mainstream of you and you've heard of it. Like, so you have to assume that the majority of people actively watching that show have watched that teaser. That's all the evidence you need that nobody's watching Picard. That's all you need. Red Letter Media's third video on that show this year came out just 1 day before that, and it already has 5 times more views than the teaser for Season 3, announcing the entire main TNG crew. That's insane! That's crazy! But anyway, I'm glad that you at least got to, see a little bit of footage of Picard, and he's reminiscing again, and he's, like, every time they do a teaser for one of these seasons, it feels like it's first season again. We're pretending like we didn't have material before. It's like, oh man, here's elderly Picard. You haven't seen him in a long time. Oh, look! He's reminiscing about the old days. Oh, look, he's opening a box with a TNG uniform in it. And you're like, we did this already. And also, this is all anybody wanted in the first place. So why are we finally doing that? It's like, oh, it's Season 3, we're wrapping it up. Because I'm assuming because Patrick Stewart is getting older and doesn't want to keep making the show. And you can't tell me he's happy with the stories they're telling. You can't tell me he's actually liking making the show. He has looked checked out since, a couple episodes in, I think. But anyway, so I guess the point I was trying to make in the first place was just you already had Riker and Troy in the first season, and I thought they would stagger it, where, like, every now and again somebody else would come in. Oh, here's Worf, and we'll do a story with Worf, and here's Beverly Crusher, and we'll do something about how Picard and Crusher almost got together, but they never did, and maybe they regret that, and nope, they're just going to throw them all in for some big, I'm going to assume, TNG movie level kind of story. The shot that you get at the end of that teaser with Picard and Riker with phasers looks like Nemesis all over again. And people are also making fun of the fact that this is what All Good Things was the last episode of TNG was an elderly Picard that has to get the band back together, and now we're doing this like in canon, because I cannot see the stuff as canon, but it is, and it's like, okay, so we're doing actual All Good Things now, and we're continuing that from the Q stuff, which also feels like All Good Things again, and it's really sad and unfortunate, and I don't want to talk about it, which is why I can't stop talking about it, because it makes me upset.
All right, let's move on before Kat gets angry.
People are saying that your audio is off. It might be because my microphone is actually working. Like, my,
What do you mean, off?
I don't know what they mean, but people have been saying that. They said,
I
said you sound
might
wonky
be
tonight.
Because my headset microphone is working.
Yeah, I hear you, man.
But I wasn't sure.
Oh, Okay, let me just check settings real quick here.
Because I can change headphones, because I have another headphone set that doesn't have a microphone. But
It shouldn't be picking up your microphone. Has it been wonky the whole time, or just since Jason sat down? Folks.
Yeah, that I don't know. Blue Dragon 5 said Cap's audio is wonky tonight. Robert Wild said my ears. So I guess you got loud at one point.
Oh, okay. Okay, I need something more than wonky. I just need to know what it... Because I turned myself up thinking that people couldn't hear me. So I'll turn this down just a little bit.
yeah.
Robert Wild, it's really sad and unfortunate, and I don't want to talk about it. Captain Logan, 2022.
What?
Alex 409 says it sounds fine. Well, I've turned down my gain a little bit, in case that's a problem.
Yeah, it sounds way better.
But no, Jason, I don't think it has anything to do with your microphone, because the input is the Yeti here. So
Yeah.
anyway, all right. Well, let's. I'll try to move a little bit quicker. Let's get some more questions. Go ahead, DJ.
All right, T-Edge1, $5. I agree with Cap, especially because Nintendo already did set numbers with Amiibo. Also, thoughts on the latest Ezra Miller sitch? Great show tonight, guys.
Is that Tom?
Yes.
Okay, Tom, we need more context with your comments sometimes, man. He's talking about the video that I made yesterday about video games.
Wow.
And he left a comment. The only reason I know that's what he's talking about is he left a comment on that video talking about Amiibo, and I didn't know what he was talking about then, and I don't know what he's talking about now. Tom, don't feel the need to leave another super chat to explain it, but something to do with the point I was making about physical video games needing to come with digital codes. And I got, by the way, on that video some nice comments from folks explaining why they thought the industry was doing that. And I wish there were some people live that were talking about this, because the video might have gone in a somewhat different direction. Because now I feel like I'm getting more why the industry does that. The idea that and I don't know why I didn't think of this before, but like I was really racking my brain really hard trying to figure out why you can't get digital along with physical like you do with movies and stuff with video games. And people were saying, well, if you buy, like, there's no way around this. If you buy a physical game and you get a digital code, people will just sell their physical copies to make up for the cost of the digital code, and then that will hurt the companies trying to sell the games. And my response to that is, okay, I can sympathize with that. That makes sense. But then what I would be a lot more okay with that if the video game could be on the disc in the first place and I didn't have to download it, because then I feel like I'm buying the same thing I'd be buying anyway if I was downloading, but being penalized for the fact that I want it in a box. And if it was a completely, I mean, you could still lose it, which is unfortunate, and one of the reasons that I wanted it in digital, but at least it's a different product then. If I'm buying the exact same product, but I get penalized if I lose it and I can't download it again like anybody else that bought it digital, that's a problem for me. So my point still somewhat stands, but I'm more understanding about why that is now, I guess.
Yeah. And then his other point or question was thoughts on the latest Ezra Miller situation.
I only saw a headline and heard about it. So I know he got arrested, and I heard it was maybe a drunken disorderly thing. Was it more than that? I don't even know. I'm not sure what he got
that's all I
arrested
heard
for.
was he like threatened people at a bar or something and got arrested. But I don't know much about it either.
By the way, I feel really remiss in this. Earlier today, I asked for lead-in topic ideas from patrons, and the lead-in topic for tonight actually did come from a patron asking us to talk about how Morbius is doing financially, and that was Shakir Elaine. Sorry if I'm butchering your last name, but thank you very much for the topic tonight, and I'm sorry that I forgot to credit you for that at the beginning of the show.
That's cool. Good job, guys.
The only other thing I heard about the Ezra Miller thing was that Warner's apparently had a meeting today trying to decide what exactly they were going to do about it. I don't know if, like, on the PR side, or if they're thinking about pushing the movie back even farther, or what all that is. But I'll just read a few comments in the stream here, because I don't know anything about this. I have not looked into it. I have been pretty unplugged the last couple weeks. Bob the Hun, Ezra Miller has committed multiple crimes. I don't know how true that is. Robert, I'm just reading.
Grain
Robert
of salt,
Wild.
guys.
I'm not making excuses for Ezra Miller, but the guy needs help. People are saying that he robbed people. Threatening people, robbing a family that was taking him in, etc., etc. Obviously, I don't want to be gossip evolution, so like I don't know anything, so I'm not going to weigh in on this.
It would be the same logo though. It would still be the G.
Gossip evolution. Man, I really should have put this tattoo in a place where I could show it. If I just had it here,
tattoo.
yeah. I don't know, like I really like it here when I'm not on camera, but I'm more and more I'm starting to wish I'd put it on the back of my arm. Anyway.
So you could like vampire cough and be like, evolution.
I have a date slated for the next one I'm going to get. So Tattoo Talk with Cap will come back next month sometime.
Sweet. Perfect. Brightest part of my week.
I'm getting... It's just really funny when you say week. It's like every week Cap gets a tattoo. That'll be the next Patreon show. It's just every week I show you the next tattoo I got.
That'll take like maybe like 3 episodes, and then it'll be done. I hope.
Cap, good job. You got... If that's your lifelong goal, to get 52 tattoos in a year, good job.
All right. CM Productions. No question. No interest in Strange New Worlds. Just want to torture you with my money. Here's $5.
Well, thanks a lot. Really appreciate that.
Taking catchphrases and everything. Thank you, CM Productions. Another one from TH1. If Sonic 2 does the direct to Paramount thing like Clifford, will you do the live commentary thing like you did with Clifford?
I mean, it's not gonna stream day and date as far as I know. I would think we would have heard an announcement about that by now. So, I mean, I was planning on going to the theater because I thought I had to. If I don't, and it actually does come out at the same time on Paramount Plus, and I can just stream it, or is it Paramount? Yeah, it's Paramount, right?
Yeah.
If that's coming out, if that did happen that way, and I could give my like immediate reaction to that, I probably would do it that way. I probably would. And then maybe do a separate spoiler cast or something later. Although I don't know if I want to make 2 videos on that movie. But
I did want to watch that with
yet.
you, though. Like, both not seen it before.
Yeah.
But, I don't know. But, because, like, I can't... I mean, I wouldn't know if you wanted to do it with Austin. Because if you wanted to do it with Austin, then you couldn't do it with me.
Well, we could all 3 do it.
Okay. But...
We'll talk about it if that happens. I don't think that's happening, though. Anyway, moving right along.
All right, next is from Chewbacca's Lover. And I almost brought this up earlier when we were talking Morbius, and I'm glad I didn't because we got a $5 super chat here.
Yeah.
He says, did you know that Jared Leto made people wheel him to the bathroom for his method acting? Not kidding, this is real. He was on crutches, but wheeling was faster. Did you hear about this?
No, I didn't.
He would hobble every time he had to go to the bathroom. Wow. He would stop everyone on set and hobble to the bathroom and take like 30 minutes and make people push him around in a wheelchair and stuff just because he's in character and I guess can't walk. He's such a weirdo.
So that sounds ultra self-indulgent for no good reason to me. Like, that doesn't sound like method acting. That sounds like an excuse to be obnoxious. And we shouldn't be surprised, I guess, because of some of the crap that we know he pulled with with his version of the Joker. Sorry, I don't want to I don't want to like taint that movie. That was a good movie. His Joker in Suicide Squad, where he was like sending rats to people and crazy things. But the other thing is that people are only okay with insane, crazy method acting stuff like that, and that sounds going even farther than like Jim Carrey and Man on the Moon. And you know why Jim Carrey got away with that with Man on the Moon? Because that's a really good movie and the performance is great. And even with that, when people saw the Jim and Andy documentary later, some people were really impressed with the method acting thing. Other people were like, oh, he's a jerk face. Why would you treat people like that? Just cause, well, I'm in character, and I mean, Jim Carrey took it all the way to the point of going, like, I've basically been embodied with the spirit of Andy Kaufman, and he wasn't really saying literally that's what was happening, but he said that
Yeah.
like he lost himself completely and couldn't tell where Jim Carrey was, and he's like, I'm Clifton now, so I've got to be like an arrogant a-hole and be obnoxious to everybody and scream in people's faces and stuff. And I'm Tony Clifton. That whole thing. And
but this is Morbius. Like, you don't have
that's
to
the
be
point I was
method
going to
acting
make
for
is there's
Morbius.
no way I walk out of this theater and go, yeah, I get why he needed people to wheelchair him to the bathroom. Like, is it going to be worth it for that performance? Probably not. And I haven't seen it yet, but probably not.
Yeah, I can't imagine.
That's nuts. I did not know about that. That's
hilarious.
crazy town.
Like, this is such an important role that I have to stay in character for the entire shoot. Oh my gosh.
Crazy town. Yeah, well, and you had things like his name's not coming to me. What's his face being like in character all the time with the Tommy Wiseau movie. But I don't think he was like crazy about it. I think he just kept in the voice and everything.
Well, Nick Cage, like, we love this about Nick Cage. Nick Cage takes every role that he takes, no matter what the movie, like it's his most important role ever. Like, he sewed bits of, like, what did he sew into his jacket on Ghost Rider? Like some kind of bones? I don't know what he like sewed bits into his wardrobe and like took it so seriously. But he doesn't like hold up the production and like make other people that are working like stay late and not get paid. Like, he's not sending people horrible gifts, like not messing with other people. He's just taking it seriously himself.
Yeah, like everybody said with Batman Returns, for instance, that DeVito was always in character as the Penguin, but he wasn't literally biting people's noses off.
No, he was just having fun being a gross.
He just enjoyed being in that suit and being able to act like that. Like, I think he was probably still down to earth and was still Danny DeVito, but he was just acting like the Penguin the whole time. And also people tell you that when you're in like heavy prosthetics and either like old age makeup or you're an alien or you're the clown from Spawn or whatever it is, that it's really easy to like accidentally fall into character and keep acting that way because that's what you feel like, that's what you look like, and that probably does enhance your performance, staying into character like that.
Yeah.
I mean, there might be kind of a fine line between method acting. Like, is there a difference? I would ask DJ between method acting and staying in character. I think they're subtly different things.
We were actually talking about this in the Discord the other day because we were talking about the Jared Leto thing. That's where I first heard about it. And obviously Daniel Day-Lewis like went out and lived in a log cabin for like the entire shoot of Lincoln. He's like the other one that's big and famous for that. Like, and he mentioned that like his wife is amazing for staying with him because she literally has to live with another person for like a year every time he does like a big movie. But Daniel Day-Lewis has said he's not a great actor, and that's why he has to do that. Like, isn't that aren't you by definition not a good actor if you can't act anything unless you have to physically do it? Like,
I mean, I would say that there is a.
Well, anyway,
we can talk about this all day long, but I'll say this real quick. Like, there's a talent in being able to fully immerse yourself in the persona of another person, right? Like, even if it takes you a while to get into that mode and all of that, I would say that's still a talent. That you are talking about two different kinds of acting before you're talking about you're not good at acting. I think.
Yeah. Well, and this is why I brought the disc. This is why I brought it all up because Doolittle, I think it was Doolittle in the Discord. His parents are like both classically trained actors, and he talked to them about it, and they said that method acting, like traditionally, is supposed to be just you getting inside the character's head and trying to understand everything from that character's perspective. Yeah. But I think that in Hollywood, some people just take it to the extreme just because, I don't know, maybe he might just want the press. Who knows? He could be just doing it to get attention. I don't know.
Yeah, well, and like everybody's different and everybody has different processes, and I can see why some people would have to be more extreme about things than others, but I think that generally speaking, you can probably tell when it's just an excuse to be weird.
Yeah.
And when you legitimately need to do that in order to keep to have your performance at a particular level or to be consistent with it.
Yeah, like if he
whatever.
walked to the bathroom, would that completely shatter his entire, like, oh, I can't get back in the character because I walked to the bathroom.
Well, and that was the thing with the Jim and Andy thing, where I draw the line. Like, at the point where it starts to really adversely affect other people, like whatever you have to do for yourself. But when you're like, I can't give a good performance unless other people are suffering, maybe the performance ain't worth it. Maybe the performance being a little bit not quite what you want and having to compromise it some is worth it to be kind and considerate.
Yeah.
Maybe.
And, like, bring the movie in on time.
Hey, Jason, what do you want to talk about?
I don't know.
Oh, speaking of Jim Carrey and
Yeah.
Jason, we got a super chat in. I'm going to skip ahead. We got one from Robert Wilde. Jason, thoughts on Batman Forever?
Oh gosh.
Review Batman Forever. Go.
Nope, no thoughts, apparently.
Dad, can we do a father and son on that?
I don't know. I've done a lot of material on Batman Forever in the past.
Well, I haven't seen it in forever, and I don't have any thoughts on it right now. So, yeah, it's
What
weird.
are you doing here?
It's weird. I have reviewed Batman 89 on the channel, and I have reviewed Batman Returns and Batman and Robin, and the Batman and the Begins trilogy.
You've
like the
done a
Dark
fair
Knight
bit of Batman,
trilogy,
yeah.
but not Batman.
Okay, well maybe we should do that together.
Forever.
then.
I
You know,
haven't done a video on
900,000 time
Batman
I've talked
Forever,
about that.
so yeah.
But like, you don't have any thoughts at all? Like just
It's a good movie.
what's your recollection of that? Like you like it?
Yep.
Can you think of one thing that you like about it?
Jim Carrey blowing up stuff.
Oh yeah, that's fun. That's fun. Where he's got the why just because he's fighting Batman does he feel the need to have paraphernalia of bats that explode? I'm in a bat cave. I got bats with question marks on them. I throw those, they explode. Intruder alert! Shut up! Ooh, them's fighting words, Brian. He says worst Batmobile. I just and Robin Batmobile. I like the Batman Forever one a lot. It's impractical, it's preposterous looking, but
I don't like the
some of it's
Batman
nostalgia.
and Robin anything. Batman and Robin is the worst Batman movie. And it is so close. So the trilogy of bad Batman movies is and I'm just gonna go from worst to
He's going to drop this
worst.
hot take and then he's going to go upstairs.
Drop the mic.
Batman and Robin, Dark Knight Rises, BVS.
So you're gonna leave before people start throwing lettuce and stuff at you? Why does somebody always have to bring lettuce and tomatoes to a speech?
And then Batman. Okay, and
Can't stay
then
off
it's
Batman.
Batman Returns, and then I guess it's Batman Forever, and then it's
Reverse.
Batman Begins, and then it's Batman 66.
Ryder said, if you say BVS, Ryder, did you
And-
not see the video where Jason spent an hour and a half just complaining about BVS? Like,
Yeah, that was
that's
the
the
first Father
reason
and Son.
Father and Son happened. Now Ryder's giving you a whole.
Oh, man. Ryder
He's 11
likes
years
BBS.
old, man. Like, he's just calling it like he's seeing it.
I haven't seen it in 10 months, but I do remember it sucks. And I do remember the whole Martha thing, which
That
sucks.
should be on the DVD as it comes out. Like, however long it's been since it was in the theater, just put that on the front. I haven't seen it in 6 months
Right.
since it was in the theater, but it sucks. I
Ryder just put
remember
a bunch
that.
of emojis in for tomatoes and lettuce. He's throwing them. He's throwing tomatoes and lettuce. This is probably not the right time to say let's go to the phones. So, DJ, why don't you give us some more super chats, and then we'll do that in a little bit. Well see if
Oh, we're doing phones.
See if that whole thing can subside.
I'm with you, Jason. I wouldn't watch any of those 3 movies ever again either. So,
And
All
let's
right.
just throw Batman Returns in there. Why not?
Sure. Just keep digging the hole.
Not very
Chewbacca's
good.
lover. We just read Chewbacca's lover. Hot soup.
hot
For some-
soup.
For someone who doesn't know anything about Star Trek, what is a good jumping on point? The classic question from Treksperts. I myself asked this question after 2009 came out, and you gave me a lovely non-answer because
I really?
you're never going to remember this, but when 2009 came out, I really enjoyed it, and I, in a Trexpert video, left a comment saying, I really like 2009. Where do you think I should go from here? And you were like, well, there's not really anything like that. So maybe just go back to the original series or something. It was funny. You're like, yeah, it's not really like anything else in Star Trek.
Oh, that's fantastic. What a jerk.
You know you're talking about
that
yourself.
That was a long
right?
time ago. 2009, clearly. But yeah, I don't know why that stuck with me.
What I should have said is Wrath of Khan, and then, because 09, like so many later Star Trek movies, is doing Wrath of Khan again in certain ways.
You should start with TNG.
And then, like, if it's 09, it's Wrath of Khan, and then I would give you a selection of like 5 or 6 TOS episodes. That's what I should have done. I've grown and matured in my commenting since then, apparently.
Oh yeah, your
I
commenting sucked.
Yeah?
I looked back at some of your old comments.
Wow, I'm glad you came.
I mean,
it's the crap on Captain Logan.
Slow burn, but it was worth it.
It is cool though because you always used to end with signed Captain Logan.
That's because we had several
CL.
people that were signed into the account that could comment. Like when Vince and I were both on, we had to sign.
Oh,
okay.
Because
I thought you were just doing the old person thing, like when my wife's dad texts him, he always signs it Max, even though it's a text.
I used to get crap about it when people were like, why do you have to sign your name? We all know who you are. I'm like, okay, but what about all the comments that Vince is making? You think they're me, but they're not. You know how you know? Because he wrote his name. That's why we did that back then.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And then when we had several people all uploading videos, we really had to do it. But anyway, so good jumping on points. So it certainly depends on sensibilities and stuff, but just generally speaking, TNG is the show that people tend to, that is the most universal, that people tend to latch onto most readily, and it is the most arguably mainstream Star Trek show, evidenced by the fact that it was the #1 show on television for several years after the first couple seasons. So I would suggest not starting with the pilot or the first couple seasons at all with TNG. Go back and watch them after you've gotten more acclimated to that show, and then you'll probably be able to enjoy and stomach some of the stuff in those while it's finding its footing, while there's some really bizarre, melodramatic, and just goofy writing. But I would say start with Season 3 TNG, and if you want to start watching in order, you're probably in okay shape starting there. But the way I think to really, or if you're gonna latch on to TNG real hard immediately and go, okay, I see what everybody's talking about, I always tell people to actually watch Best of Both Worlds. And it's odd, to say the least, to tell somebody they should look at one of, if not the best episodes of a show, because it all goes downhill from there, for a lot of things. But I don't know why it works with Best of Both Worlds, but it seems to.
Then watch the game.
Don't do that. Don't listen to anything he says. So, I said...
Except for his Batman facts.
I said for years that you start with Best of Both Worlds, and then I'll give you a list of, like, 7 or 8 TNG episodes that you should look at, and then after that, you can go on your own. You'll probably enjoy a lot of what you look at, or at least you'll be able to stomach a lot of what you look at. And I always thought that would work. And then... Eric lived with me for a while and did not really care about Star Trek, and we were watching DS9 together, and he was liking that okay, but he just couldn't understand why I was such a Star Trek fan. And one night, I invited some guys over, and we watched Best of Both Worlds, and Eric joined us. And immediately after that, he finally started watching TNG, and he had like a spiritual experience with TNG after that, and now is kind of a Star Trek fan. And it like the optimism of that show, like for just the time where he was at in his life right then, he needed that, he told me. And he was like something clicked, and he was like, oh, Star Trek, like I really need this in my life right now. And he never thought he would care, and for months he didn't care when we would look at Star Trek stuff. And Best of Both Worlds was the show I showed him, so I at least, you know, that's an isolated case, but at least with that one person, I seem to have been really right about that. So either start in 3rd season or start with Best of Both Worlds, which is actually the cliffhanger at the end of that season, and then jump around some. But I could go through different shows and tell you where to start with different things, but I'm not going to do that. Let's go ahead and move on.
All right, Senior Sticks. Morbius made that much, so Morbius trilogy, yes, no?
I don't know. I guess it's possible at this point. I mean, if
The
they make a
Morbius
sequel and
trilogy.
it performs, then they'll make a third one because everything has to be a trilogy now.
I
My
don't know.
prediction.
I feel like they're just the only reason this movie was made was so they could use that character in their Sonyverse. I feel like that's what they're. I feel like that's more their strategy is to have these crappy origin movies so that they have like a set of characters they can all cross over. I don't know if they're maybe.
But Venom immediately got a sequel, and it came out before the next character in their multiverse. That's
well, yeah,
so
but Venom
weird.
made more money than anyone thought it was going to. Venom was. It'd be stupid not to make a Venom sequel because, especially overseas, it made bazillion dollars.
That's a good point. So you're saying if it just makes its money back or barely performs, they're not going to make a sequel?
I mean, I'm not going to call it. They absolutely could. It's Sony. They can do whatever they.
Who
I don't know
knows?
what Sony
Yeah.
does, but I feel like they felt like they at least needed this. So that I heard it described as like the Incredible Hulk or Captain America, where it needs to like it's not breaking. It's not doing gangbusters or anything, but they at least have that character and they can maybe go on to do bigger, better things with them. I don't know.
I will make this prediction. If Morbius doesn't get a sequel, he'll be in Venom 3. Because they haven't, like, they've only got those two characters now, and they keep playing it up like a multiverse of its own. They're gonna cross over prematurely, right? Like
Yeah.
that's
Well,
what
and
they're gonna do.
Craven's-
They'll have a team up movie.
Yeah, what is going to happen? Like, because he's in. Where is Morbius? Is he in New York? People have seen the movie because he's probably not in San Francisco where Venom is.
No, but Venom is clearly news, and everybody knows about him because in that trailer he pretends to be Venom.
Are we gonna get a road trip movie with Venom and Morbius and Craven just riding across the country to New York so we can go see Spider-Man?
Web?
You hate the spider. I hate the spider. Let's do a road trip to New York and we can pummel them together.
Or they make a road trip to go fight Madam Web. How many super chats do we have?
Oh,
A
we've
bunch.
got a bunch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Okay, let's blow through some more of those.
All right, back
Oh,
to
hey,
Star
we just got a
Trek.
Jason question. Let's do that real quick. Robert Wild put in a super chat and asked Jason what his thoughts are on Danny Phantom. He's only seen the first episode, and I don't know if he remembers it at all.
I do.
Okay, do you have
Danny
thoughts?
Phantom is hilarious.
Can you speak toward the microphone?
Danny Phantom is hilarious. Oh wait, that was your ceiling. Not your ceiling, but DJ's ceiling. Anyway, Danny Phantom is like, I don't know. It's like, what's that thing?
I'm gonna clip this out and make it its own video.
Danny Phantom review by Jason.
Well, it's got a little Ghostbusters in it.
Yeah, it's just a mix of everything.
Little Spider-Man.
It's like a lasagna. That's what
Ah,
I was
yes.
gonna say.
You went to a food metaphor.
It's like lasagna.
Oh, you were trying to think of lasagna?
It's cheese, and it's sauce, and it's whatever the heck else they put on lasagna. Danny Phantom is like
Cottage cheese.
Ghostbusters, and it's a little bit of like, I don't know, like Powerpuff
ricotta
Girls or whatever. And then whatever the heck else is also in it. There's a bunch of other stuff mixed in.
Okay, let's keep going.
There you go. His thoughts on Danny Phantom were describing what it is. There you go. All
Blue
right,
Dragon
next-
5 in the comments is telling you you suck right now. He's not using that word, but that's basically what he's saying.
Oh, what a jerk. You're insulting a kid. Now I feel like I got
It's my fault I let him crash. All right, keep going.
He set him up for failure.
I
TH1.
should have came in the middle of calls.
We'll do that here in just a couple minutes, guys. Go ahead. Let's do a couple more super chats, and then I'll take a couple phone calls.
Star Trek Prodigy. Yeesh. Am I right? Thoughts, Jason?
Yes, very yeesh. I watched like the second episode and a bit of the third episode, and yeesh.
Very yeesh.
What?
That's the
Why
like
is this a
3D
thing?
animated one.
Yeah, that's aimed at teenagers that are clearly not caring about that show. There's
Yeah.
no way the age group they're selling that at is watching that show. And that would be a hard sell anyway, but it's like, let's just make more Star Wars Rebels in the Star Trek universe. Only it's not as good as Rebels.
And
I will say it's
no,
more...
it's not. No,
It
it's
is more
terrible.
straightforward than some of those other shows. It actually, in some ways, might be the best of those shows, which is really saying
I mean,
something.
yeah,
But
I
I couldn't
would-
watch after the first 10 minutes of the 4th episode.
yeah.
I'll never go back after that.
Well, and here's the thing: I only watched 2 or 3 episodes of Prodigy. I was able to get through 5 or 6 of Picard. I don't know how I did that.
DJ, did I tell you where I dropped off that? Where I went, like, and I was already, like, not engaged and not enjoying that at all, but I was, like,
Yeah.
the place, did I tell you about this? Okay, DJ's not talking to me.
Oh, are you talking to me? No,
yeah.
no, you didn't tell me about this.
Did I tell you about that? I just didn't want to repeat the story if I've said it before, because, like, I couldn't remember if I've talked about this. I think I might
You're
have
talking
talked
about
about it
where you dropped off Picard?
on After Dark. No, a Prodigy.
Oh, Prodigy. No, I haven't heard this.
Okay, so I'm watching Prodigy, and you get 5 minutes, like 5-10 minutes into the 4th episode, and you've got Hologram Janeway, and that's not my nickname for her. That's what they call her. She's Hologram Janeway, and she's just an AI on the ship that's there to tell the
Why?
cadets what they're supposed to go do with themselves. I don't know, because it's just a contrived way to get Kate Mulgrew into that show, and because they're in the Delta Quadrant. So, like, this is like a nerdy Star Trek thing that you wouldn't appreciate, DJ, but this is not the thing that made me stop watching it. But, like, from right away, I'm like, okay, something is already even more off than it has been, because they're like, so you got these, like, riffraff kids that are pretending like they're cadets, and this hologram AI is really dumb for buying into it. And so she keeps telling them, like, basic, obvious Star Trek stuff that they don't know to get the kids that are supposedly watching this acclimated to how Star Trek works, even though these people don't understand how Star Trek works. So the beginning of this episode, they're like, and remember that they're just out messing around with the ship, and they're running away from some bad guy that's after them, and they decide that they need to go explore, or rather, I guess Hologram Janeway is like, oh, there's this Class M planet, we have to go investigate, because we're explorers. And of course, they're not explorers, but she thinks that they're Starfleet cadets. They're supposed to go explore. She's like, we got to go explore this planet. It's in the Herosian sector. Okay, so the Herosian are these like really scary hunters that are really violent, and they're gonna hunt you and try to kill you, DJ. But we gotta go investigate this planet just because it might have life on it. Like, no, it's like really dangerous. You'd have to have like a really good you're in the Herosian sector. Why are you doing that? So right away I'm just like, this is dumb. Why they're just pulling names out of like a Star Trek encyclopedia or something. You're like, Voyager had races like the Herosian. Okay, no, I wouldn't think you'd want to mess. It's not quite as bad as going like, there's a planet in the Borg sector, but like it's up there. Okay, but then they're gonna go down on this planet. So Janeway introduces a dune buggy, like in Nemesis. It was already really stupid in Nemesis. You're like, really, a Star Trek thing? You just got this dune buggy where you're gonna like ride around on this planet in this craft that is
And Picard's
like,
having a
not
really fun time.
Yeah, not remotely futuristic. Doesn't make any sense that you'd be using that. And then the place where I dropped, and I was like, I'm never watching this again, is they do this really stupid thing where they're shooting around this dune buggy, and you're supposed to be really, forgive me if anybody's heard me talk about this before, where you're supposed to be really excited and jazzed about this like kick-ass looking, and it's not, it's dumb, all-terrain vehicle. And she's excited like Picard was in Nemesis, just completely out of character. I realize that she's an AI, but completely out of character. And then she goes, she's naming down all the features, and then she goes, and the best feature is the hold on to your butts grab handles. They made Kate Mulgrew say the line, "Hold on to your butt's grab handles," and I will never forget it. And I immediately turned it off and went, like, cover your ears for a second. I feel like I'm watching porn or something right now. Like, I shouldn't even be watching this. Like, just turn it off.
Yeah, that sounds on that level, like just the most ridiculous.
Yeah.
So, but then you immediately went into your Jurassic Park mobile and added a hold on to your butt's grab handle, right?
Exactly. Oh, I just couldn't even deal with it. Yeah. Anyway,
wow.
Sorry for saying that in front of an 11-year-old, but I just didn't know what other sentiment. Like, that's what it felt like. It was like, I hope nobody's watching me. I gotta turn this off. Yeah.
It's like, I'm not even gonna get into it.
Thank you.
Okay, so give us another super chat, and then I'm gonna take the risk of taking a phone call right now.
Oh my gosh. All right, Matthew Bass, $5. Do you think the X-Men actually make for a good civil rights allegory, or does mutants having powers muddy that comparison?
Yeah, I like that you're saying it like that. It does, but the best X-Men stories deal with the fact that it muddies it, and it makes it more interesting than if it was just simple racism. So, like,
yeah.
I think it is muddied, but I think it's more interesting because it is. Because when you give the other side an argument, where it's not just simply like we're afraid of that which we don't understand, but there's also a reason to be afraid of people that like can set things on fire with their mind and don't know how to control that. So like what makes it interesting is that you want to give people their rights, but sometimes in a case like this, when you do that, it also could encroach on the rights of others. So how do you even remotely be fair? That's just inherently really interesting, where it's like, how can we protect the rights of some people without infringing on the rights or the safety of other people? And people in that universe do take it too simplistically, where they go, okay, they're all bad now, or like I hate all of them, and it does turn into the civil rights thing where like now there should be segregation for not the practical reason of, well, these people might hurt us on accident just by looking at us, but because they're lesser than us, we have to see them as smaller, not worth as much as us, because we're afraid of, because we don't want them in our society. We have to oversimplify everything. And so the idea that would lead us to some of the same places that we would get with the civil rights movement and things like that, it makes a lot of sense. So I think it works fine as an allegory for that, but we get there in a different way, and it's more interesting because some of the people that are against mutants might actually sometimes have valid arguments also.
Yeah, and I think it's a fantastic question though, because I could see people who say that it doesn't work as an allegory because it's not the same thing, because there actually is a legitimate, inherent danger there, which there isn't, obviously. So yeah. I could see people saying that. So I get where the question's coming from. I think that's a great question. I think it's completely up to your. It's like it depends question based on how you see it.
Well, I'll say that sometimes, this is where the sometimes over-the-top idealism of Xavier comes in, where sometimes he seems a little bit too extreme, right? The idea that, he has a naturally hopeful outlook, and on the face of it, he seems to have the right idea. Like, let's find a way for us all just to get along. But when he says, any mutant can learn how to control his powers, and then we can all live harmoniously and as equals, that might not always be the case. How can he be completely sure about that? And so that's where a lot of those interesting kind of sci-fi ethical conundrums come in.
Yeah, and that's why Professor Zoom says, and there's a reason why Magneto's past is so effective, in my opinion. Hate against mutants has a lot more to do with anti-Semitism rather than civil rights. That's why his background is so important, and that's why that's the one character that everyone's like, how do you do this character in modern times as we get further and further away from World War II, because that character not only has that's not so much to do, his background isn't so much just for him, it's for like the whole concept of the thing, because he's the main antagonist of the whole series. So I don't know, MCU, figure it out. But yeah, let's go. Bob the Hun, $5. More Star Trek. This is a Star Trek night. Here we go. Bob the Hun, $5. The hot ladies in Enterprise is ironic given where New Trek is politically. Went the complete opposite direction. Stuff in Enterprise wouldn't fly now.
That's true.
That is very true. And we kind of talked about that yesterday on our Enterprise with like the what do they call it? The I don't remember. The chambers.
I'm sorry, I don't. Oh, the decon chamber. Yeah,
the decon chambers.
Yeah, all of that. Well, and people kept wanting us to talk about that really infamous moment with Hoshi losing her top, which happens in the first episode of season 2, which is why we didn't talk about it. We'll talk about that next time. We won't talk about it at length, but yes, that's a thing that happens. But yeah, it just over-sexualized stuff and product of another time and all of that. I don't have much to add. But yes, you're right, of course. You wouldn't be able to do that kind of thing now. And we've got a real pendulum swing kind of thing where I think we've taken it too far the other direction, where, you don't have to over-sexualize women and get, like borderline demeaning and have a like token sex symbol kind of thing. But at the same time, you also don't have to go, and I feel like I might get in trouble with some people for saying this, but I feel like Discovery in particular has this kind of double standard problem where it's fine for girls to like get obsessed with the opposite sex, but that can't ever happen the other way, where you'll have women talking about like how hot a guy is. There's an infamous moment where that happens. Oh, I didn't realize that I had actually already changed this where people can see the number now. But I'll go ahead and take a call. Okay, I'm taking a call now, folks. Can you hear that, DJ?
Yeah, I can hear it.
Hold on. Oh, there it is.
Call from
Spider Fan.
Okay, sorry. I've got to change some settings here real quick.
Oh no, did Spider-Fan just get hung up on?
He did, but hopefully he calls back.
It's like, that was my moment.
Yeah, you were able to hear it, but I don't think the audience would. So
sorry.
Hopefully we'll hear that. We'll get it back again. So yeah, feel free to call that number, 913-336-7550. The phone is open, and we will take a call once we get one in. Hopefully he tries again. Okay, just got a missed call, but this time it didn't actually show for some reason. So sorry about that. We're still getting the hang of this Google Voice thing. So yeah, my apologies. We should be able to see it now, though.
Yeah, it's
all right, well,
so
I'm gonna pop another Star Trek.
Oh wow, jeez, it's just Star Trek.
Superchat.
Some of that's probably because of the fact that we did a Star Trek show yesterday. Go ahead.
All right, Senior Sticks. Can movie Trek and TV Trek be canon together again?
Okay, I've got another call, and then I'll answer that here in a minute.
All right.
Call from
Chewbacca's Lover.
Oh, it's
to
Chewbacca's
accept,
Lover again.
Press 1. To send a voicemail, press 2.
Chewbacca's Lover, can you hear me? Hello, can you hear me?
Chewbacca's Lover.
He's not saying anything. I'm glad this went better on the 200th show.
Yeah, the 200th show was great, guys. If you missed that one, go back and watch this one. Go back and watch that one.
Hello?
Hey, can you hear me? Chewbacca's Lover, can you hear me?
Hello?
Hello, he's Rachel from Dark
Hello?
Knight. Hello. Chewbacca's Lover, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, so DJ, I tried to set it up so that he'd be able to hear you as well, and that apparently backfired and didn't work.
Oh no!
So he's gonna be able to hear me, but not you, just like we had in the 200 show. I'm still working on that. I thought if I went to stereo mix, but he couldn't hear my microphone. So.
Oh, gotcha. No worries. Still working out the kinks. It's all good. Are you at the drive-thru, sir?
Yeah.
What's up?
Oh, yeah. Oh yeah, I just said I've been rewatching your Matrix commentaries of Eric for I think the 4th time.
Oh wow, geez, thanks, man.
Nice.
Those were a lot of fun to do.
Yeah, and I have a question and a slight disagreement.
Sure. I won't remember anything I said in those, but go right ahead.
Like you talked about, like in the Animatrix commentary, you talk about like spin-offs and of the Matrix and whatnot.
Yeah.
And what I was wondering is, like the EU did for the prequels, could Matrix EU not make the Matrix sequels good, but make it so that people kind of like they don't want it removed, like they can't ignore it.
Yeah, where we add some material to it and flesh some things out, and in particular, just giving us some character dimension for certain characters. Yeah, that would have been great.
Like, I mean, like, because
there was an attempt at that a little bit with like Enter the Matrix and the Matrix comics and all of that.
Like, so if like the prequel EU, it's gotten the prequels to a point where even people that like hate the prequels, they can't imagine it not being there because of the stuff that they love that's been made with it.
Sure.
And it's like the John Ostrander Clone Wars.
Right. Yeah, no, I mean, I know there's a lot of good stories told in that era. It doesn't make those movies any better for me, but...
Yeah, but it's like, let's got to a point where, like, if they were going to, like, okay, we can reboot the prequels and do them right, that some people said, no, you can't do that, like, we lose all this great stuff. That was, I just, like, pulling stuff from, those movies that, like mythology and stuff. Like
right.
Using not just like in that era, but using stuff from those movies.
Yeah, and I mean, there's flashes of good ideas, and especially with mythology and stuff in those, so it makes sense that you know, in my mind, especially at that point, better writers than Lucas ran with that material, which is why he unfortunately should have worked with a co-writer in the first place. And I get that there were reasons that couldn't happen, but it's just unfortunate it didn't work out that way. Anyway, no, that's a good point. I totally agree with you, man. I'm going to take another call, but thanks for calling.
Oh, wait, I had another question.
Real quick, go ahead.
Oh, slight disagreement. I disagree with you about Cypher.
Okay. I don't know what I said about Cypher, man. Go ahead.
You said that he kind of becomes like over the top, like villain and stuff, and that and he kind of like that he like didn't get where he was coming from, and that he was like too over the top, or he was like too happy to kill them. But I think that made perfect sense for what his motivation was.
Okay.
Because, like, in the commentary, you said that, like, you didn't like that he was so okay with killing them, or so happy to, like, kind of kill them and stuff.
Right.
Basically, from his, he doesn't, but his motivation, at least in my interpretation, is that he doesn't just want to go back. He feels that they kind of, like, screwed him, and he kind of wants revenge because he feels like they ruined his life, like, with a false promise. So he's, like, happy to kind of get back at them.
Yeah. No, I get that. I feel like that maybe should have been a little clearer a little bit earlier, particularly in the scene where he is, you know, having dinner and talking to Smith and all of that. Like, the way the story plays, it kind of feels out of nowhere, but I see what you're saying.
But, like, someone pointed this out. But if you pay attention, when they're all having dinner, the rest of them are all eating together, but Cypher's eating by himself away from them because he's already kind of like grown distant from them. They're not really like his friends at this point.
Yeah. No, fair point. I hadn't thought about that. But thanks for calling, man.
I'm
going to take another call now.
Thanks. Bye.
All right, thanks, buddy. Okay, Yeah, I've had like 3 or 4 other people attempt to get in while we were talking to Chewbacca's lover, but I'm glad that people are getting through, and I'm sorry, DJ, that people can't hear you still. I haven't figured out a fix for that.
I'm a fly on the wall. I'm a ghost.
Let's see who's calling now. We'll take at least one more here.
Just creeping on people. I'm making fun of them when they can't hear
Call
me.
from.
Damn fine cup of coffee.
To accept, press 1. To send a voicemail, press
Oh,
2.
it's damn fine cup of coffee.
I like that they get to announce themselves. It's
Yeah,
nice.
I like that I'm gonna be able to just call them that. How's it going? Damn fine cup of coffee.
Hey. So weird.
Hey, how you doing?
Great.
He could have just been
Oh my
like
God, I've
Jim
been
or
watching this
Paul
for
or
like 10
something.
years. I don't know
but
why I
no,
never
it's-
thought about.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Say
Sorry.
that again.
No, this is like a weird
Special.
starstruck moment for me.
Oh
Anyway,
man, I'm
I'm
just
trying
some
not
guy
to be
broadcasting out of his
nervous about
basement.
it.
What do you want to talk about, man?
Yeah, this is a special moment for him, Captain. You're talking over him.
Oh no, sorry. If it's a shitty connection, I'm out in Asia. So, what do I want
Asia?
to talk about? Well, I didn't really think about it. Sorry, I haven't been watching.
Tell us
the
more
rest
about
of
where
the
you are.
broadcast. I don't know what you guys thought. But, well, recently I saw, I think the Star Wars sequels. They said they might. I think what's her name, Daisy Ridley.
Yeah.
She came back to social media, so people are wondering, oh, is she going to be back for more movies or TV shows? So
Oh, interesting.
I don't know.
didn't
Do
know
you want
about
to
that.
see? Do you want to see more of the sequel trilogy?
No,
Cast?
I don't. But I would have no problem with bringing Rey back in some capacity and actually, I don't know, doing something with that character and fleshing out, why she was able to use the force powers she was able to use as early as she did, and just give her some kind of dimension. I loved her initially. I thought she was going to be my favorite character in Star Wars, and then nothing.
Right. I guess that's my question. Like how salvageable do you think it is, or is it even worth it? Because I'm not a huge Clone Wars fan, but a lot of people kind of cite that as an example of salvaging the era. Again, like you said, it doesn't make the movies any better for me, but maybe it somehow salvages the
I mean, yeah, can
I
you
don't
still
know
love to have
contribution to the
a great movie with Rey?
saga? Does that make any sense?
Yeah.
Can Filoni save? Can he? You know what I mean? Can he retroactively make these movies have more? How do I say? Not be such a. A lot of people that the sequel trilogy totally just derails the saga for them. So
Yeah,
is it possible to?
it does,
correct the ship in any way?
and it's an even worse problem than the prequels because at least the best material with the movies happen canonically or chronologically after those, and so no matter what you do to those, even if it feels like you're kind of universe breaking and stuff, it's kind of easy to ignore them. And then when you move forward and you do that and you kind of break the universe, it's a lot more difficult to move forward from there, and you kind of change what the Force is. I think it's really ironic that The Force Awakens has the line that's not how the Force works, and then you have movies after that where it feels like nobody knows what that is and how the lore used to work. And so yeah, I don't know what you do. I think you could have some nice isolated standalone stories with characters like Rey that happen maybe before that or somewhere in the between the raindrops and stuff. I would have not much interest in seeing that universe moving forward past that, because I just feel like you jump the shark too hard and it's kind of busted. Like once you bring Palpatine back, I don't know what the point is of trying to do anything else
Somehow.
after that. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's it.
Well, thanks for calling and talking to me for a minute.
All right. Cheers.
What a delightful guy.
Yeah, he was great.
He had a great microphone.
Great voice. Yeah, he sounded like he was more professional than us.
Yeah, yeah.
Did he say he was from Asia? He was in Asia right now?
I missed it.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell
that's
what he was saying.
said.
That's great. I wanted to hear more about that. Forget
Yeah.
Star Wars. What are you doing in Asia?
No, I wish I'd caught that. I would have probed a little bit, but Yeah, I didn't want to push him to stay on because he seemed like a tad nervous for a second. So I was like, he came up with a topic and we talked for a minute. He's like, okay, I'm gonna go, and I was like, I don't want to pressure him into sticking around.
I feel like he was just being respectful. He didn't want to overstay his welcome.
Well, that was super nice of him. If that's what it was. Maybe he'll call again another time, and we'll take one more because somebody else is calling in. Sorry, I'm distracted by the fact that people can't hear DJ, and that's driving me insane. Okay, let's take.
Sorry,
another
I
call.
won't
Here we
talk.
go.
Call from.
Spider fan.
A Spider fan.
He made it back.
Accept. Press 1. To send a voicemail, press.
So glad he made it back in.
Hi there. Can you hear us?
Yes.
Or hear me? You won't be. Well, yeah, you won't be able to hear DJ, unfortunately.
But you can hear
But
me?
you finally
Oh,
got
that's
in. How's it going?
I'm not important.
Oh, it's great. I finally get to be on after all this time.
Well, I'm glad that you got through. So you are a Spider fan, yeah?
Yes, sir.
What would you like to talk about, sir?
Well, just two quick things. One, just wanted to say, been a long time viewer, first time caller, as they might like to say, all the way back 2010.
Yeah, it's so fun people can say
So
that.
That's kind of the thing. And
My
I also
goodness.
wanted to mention.
Thanks for sticking around, man. I really appreciate it.
Oh, totally. It's been great. Also wanted to actually tell you, and I knew this would kind of freak you out a little bit.
Oh God.
I actually, since you all been doing the new show, I actually I used to go out of my way to listen to the old Geekvolution Radio Hour on Krypton Radio and Supervillain Network back when that was still a thing. Yeah, so that and all the rewinds and all the Captain Logan shows and all that good stuff.
That's
so
crazy. I haven't heard anybody bring up that show in a long time. That was a lot of fun. I think we had like 12 people listening to that, but it was.
Well,
I
was one of them, so there.
Thanks,
so
man.
Now you know.
Thanks for being a 12th of the audience.
Okay, I'm happy with that. You're welcome. Absolutely, great content. The main question that I was wanting to ask and I was actually curious to see what Jason and DJ's thoughts on this also were. I remember years ago in a rewind, I think it was the Daredevil one, I think.
Yeah.
Talked about how Daredevil was with Elektra, and so he could kind of she could understand where he was coming from as a superhero. So the question I was wanting to ask was basically, how do you think should superheroes be in relationships with other superheroes? Do you think that that's a better story concept than, say, Superman, Lois Lane, or even like Spider-Man with a Gwen Stacy or Mary Jane? Do you think Black Cat's better? Because I've always had that view personally. Part of that comes from the '90s show. I grew up on that, so that's a personal opinion I have. So I was kind of curious to see what the panel's thoughts on all that was, because that's a take that I have on things.
Yeah, I used to be very much in that camp, and now I'm somewhere in the middle, I think, where, like you said, I mean, I've talked about this in a lot of videos, the idea that it's kind of weird that superheroes wouldn't, if there are, like, women in this, or male superheroes, I guess, if there's if there are women in the same field that do what they do and understand that life, that they wouldn't more often go after them because of the kind of age-old trope of the girlfriend who's annoyed because you keep leaving her at home when you run off to risk your life to save the world, and like you never spend any time together and all of that. You could make it a hobby. You make crime fighting a hobby together that you did as a couple. But then, and this example might kind of surprise you, the thing that I think kind of changed my mind about it a little bit, and it's the you can make anything work thing, was Deadpool. Because that's
interesting.
That's now my favorite, or one of my favorite relationships in superhero movies, and she's not a superhero, but DJ doesn't like that, but I don't care. I thought that was a shockingly charming relationship, and I bought those two together really well, and so I started to think a little bit differently about it. But Jason, do you have any thoughts on that at all?
I do.
Go ahead.
So yeah, I did I was actually like almost the complete opposite. Where
you prefer the Superman Lois Lane thing?
yeah, like I liked the whole like secret identity thing. I still do. I think I like more dramatic stories that I think they're like kind of fun, where it's like, oh, what's gonna happen next? It's like crazy, and I think like.
So you like a relationship where she doesn't know that he's a superhero?
Yeah, and but then I read Watchmen, and that kind of changed my point of view on that.
Because of Dryberg and
yeah.
Okay.
Because like it's not a relationship that you are really close to, but you still like hear about it, and like they still go like into all the stuff that happened back in like the 70s or whatever.
Yeah.
Or 60s.
Okay, Spider-Fan, unfortunately, because of the way I have this set up, I cannot figure out a way yet to make it to where the caller can hear DJ. So we'll close off with you here in a second, and then DJ can respond to this where you can listen to him while you're off the call.
That's great.
But thanks a ton for calling, man. I sure appreciate it. And call back again.
Yeah, absolutely.
We will do this again. Maybe not every show, but we'll keep doing the call-in thing.
Fantastic. Keep up the great work, guys.
Thanks, man. Sure
Support
appreciate
your
it.
local comic book store.
Even though Cap does it anymore.
Well, shh, don't tell anybody about that.
No, great caller.
All right, later, buddy. Thanks for calling. I just realized that he doesn't know what I was laughing at. Okay,
cool
so
dude.
we're
Sounds
done
like a cool
with calls for the evening, but we'll take them again down the road. I want to get to some more super chats and see if we can get a little bit closer to this goal. If people are interested in that, obviously. If you're not, thanks for leaving comments and watching and chatting with us. So, DJ, what is your response to his question?
Yeah, no. First of all, great question. Thanks for I actually remember this conversation. I might have been a part of this conversation at one point when that he brought up. But yeah, I don't have. You guys both were on opposite sides and then had like this thing that happened that made you switch sides. So, but I don't have that. But I think it is. I think it's just like real life. It's a case by case. It depends on like some people in real life. Can work with their spouse. Some people don't. Some people like the time away where they go and do their own thing and they work all day. They come home and they don't want to talk about work. So you wouldn't want a superhero wife. You would want something different at home. But some people like me and my wife, we both do the exact same job and we work at home together all day and we help each other with each other's work. You're right.
There are police officers that do better with police spouses and others who want to be as far away from that as they can.
So I think both can work. Both can work great. I don't think we have to be locked into any of the stereotypes. I think you can make both work.
I think it depends on the character.
Yeah, and also with because I was gonna say I can see Superman either direction because Superman is both the everyman and the unattainable, moral God thing, right? So when New 52 had him with Wonder Woman, I liked that whole relationship. I thought that worked really well. But, like, Clark Kent with Lois Lane always fit and made a lot of sense and kind of helps to ground Superman so he doesn't lose track of his humanity, of course, right? Batman is a character that I don't see ever, like Bruce Wayne ever really working out with just... somebody that's not involved in the vigilante life. Like, whether you think that Batman, that Catwoman should be... Yeah, well, not necessarily. No. Whether you think that Batman... I mean, Bruce Timm tried that whole thing. Whether you think that Batman and Catwoman are soulmates or not, somebody like that like understands that life is the only person that Batman even has a chance with at all. And even then, he's so devoted to crime fighting and like the unattainable goal of making it to where no child has to go through what he went through, that he's always going to be married to the Batman persona in Gotham, if you think about it in Frank Miller terms. So yeah, it definitely depends on the character, and I also think it probably somewhat depends on, to some degree, whether you have superpowers or not, maybe.
Yeah. No, I think it's interesting. I think superhero relationships. That's the new show that me and Cap are starting. We'll be doing it once a month. Just kidding.
It's more fun to break it down character by character, isn't it, than to have the debate of should superheroes date superheroes? Because you're right, it's too oversimplified.
Yeah, it could absolutely go either way. Great question though. I want to do an update on the goal. What is the goal? What are we trying to get to?
125.
To do what?
Okay.
And we're currently I'll tell you in a second. We're currently sitting at 61.67.
Yes. That is
so there's still a little bit of time left if we've got some more super chats to hit. But about 15 minutes before we hit 2 hours, and I definitely am going to have to call it at 2 hours. So not looking real good right now for hitting the goals. So if people are interested in that and want to get us there, you still got a few minutes to make that happen if you are so inclined. Jason, if we hit $125 tonight, I am going to do a blind commentary reaction on the first episode of Strange New Worlds when that drops.
Oh gosh. No.
Jason's like, don't help Dad.
Don't do that to my father. He's in a cranky mood with us kids every time he watches Star Trek.
What are you gonna say?
You should do.
Oh, well, you have to do it with me too. I didn't mention that.
Oh no.
Force Jason to watch it as well.
It should be you should do that thing that a lot of YouTubers do where like if I hit this milestone then I have to shave my head.
Well, I did the purple hair thing.
Yeah.
A couple years ago. We did do that.
Yeah.
That was the first goal we did on this show.
I think it was.
When I joined and tanked the show from then on. Senior Sticks, let's get back to this, $2.
No, you didn't.
Can Movie Trek and TV Trek be canon together again?
Movie Trek and TV Trek. Yeah, because... Well, I mean, the easy answer is all you have to do is make movies that are set in the prime continuity. I mean, the continuity of Star Trek is so jacked up now that it's hard to, I think, it's difficult to even talk about that whole thing where, like, I don't feel like a lot of things fit together anymore with all the new stuff and with the Abrams movies, but I guess real quick I'll mention that at least now that Paramount and CBS are back together again as one company, you can make Prime movies again, and you didn't used to be able to. Like, part of the reason that we had the soft rebooted franchise was because, if I understand it right, the rights were split between two companies, and one could make TV stuff and one could make movie stuff, and the movies couldn't have too much to do with the TV stuff. You don't have that anymore. So if they wanted to make a Discovery movie, they could. Nobody would see it, but they could. And so, like, if they want to do that kind of thing, they can. I'm sure what you mean, though, is are we ever going to get the Abrams movies to get back into step with the continuity of Prime? And I just don't even see what the point of that would be, especially because even though it's not made totally clear in those movies, apparently, according to some of the creators of those movies, Kurtzman and Lindelof and some of those guys, that when Spock Prime, and I've talked about this before, of course, when Spock Prime goes back in time, he's not in our timeline anymore. He's gone to an alternate dimension at the same time as he's gone back in time, which is supposed to be their explanation for why nobody attempts to fix the timeline, even though we're not told for sure that's exactly what's going on. So there would be no point in doing that, really, because you're already in, because they're having their cake and eating it too. So they didn't go back and, I mean, they changed things from in the timeline that they went back to, because the Narada wouldn't have been in that timeline either, but it kind of doesn't matter now that, like, they splintered that off and it's a whole other timeline, and what would be the point in trying to integrate it now? And also with New Trek, you've already introduced a new actor playing Spock, a new actor playing Kirk. They're going to keep those as two totally separate franchises if Star Trek 4 actually comes to fruition now and keeps happening. There'd be no point in putting them together unless they decided to do some kind of irritating DJ, multiversal crossover thing like we're doing with Marvel now, where they go, we've got 2 Kirks, let's see them on screen together. We've got 2 Spocks, let's see them on screen together. That's the only way it would happen at this point.
I hope that happens.
If you literally melded like with Mirror Universe or something.
If you did an in-universe reboot so that you didn't, so it wasn't, you intentionally did it so it wasn't the same continuity, and then you just brought it back together anyway with the multiverse, that would be amazing.
Yeah. So they could do that, and I wouldn't put it past them.
You either die a franchise or you live long enough to do a multiverse. That's what happens these days.
All right. How many super chats do we have left, DJ?
We have 4.
Okay.
4. TH1 did what you told him not to do and put in another super chat explaining his first super chat.
All right. Go ahead.
About making only a limited run of physical games, which was about why he mentioned Amiibo, because they made a limited run.
Oh, I see.
Physical.
I'm sorry, I have nothing to add to that, but but thanks, Tom.
And then for Jason from Spedavescu 5, some kind of currency. Jason, if you had to turn your parents into animals and couldn't ask their opinion, which animals would you choose?
Couldn't ask their opinion.
Don't talk to them, Cap. You have no say in this.
All right. I'm excited to find out what animal I'm turning into.
Well, the first thing that comes to my head is Dad's a llama. But, nah, I'm not going to do that.
Dad's a llama?
You just don't like me. I
No,
have to be a llama now.
No, you don't.
He'd be spitting on you all the time, Jason. That's a bad call.
Let's go backfire for sure.
I know,
You're just going to have to throw out a couple animals so we can move on here.
Mom would be an ocelot, and Dad would be...
It's the second time an ocelot has come up on the show.
We do get along pretty well with our children, despite what this might be a thing.
And...
when he wants to turn us into llamas and ocelots.
No,
Yeah, what's your dad going to be, a dung beetle?
Dad would be a polar bear.
Oh, that's cool.
Oh,
that's cool. I'll take
Except
that.
he wouldn't be able to live in our house. No, that's not a good idea.
That's true.
Yeah.
Polar
He would
bears
also
can't live in the
he would
bunker.
die. He'd have to go somewhere cold.
All right, moving right along.
All right, we have a super chat from James Egan.
Hi.
What?
Cap, thoughts on the slap?
Oh.
Did not think that was going to come up 2 weeks later, but here we are.
You know what? Even 2 weeks later, it's all anybody's talking about, and
it's all everybody's talking about.
I was really glad that I just happened to take a week off and cancel a show last week when it became like Hollywood drama, everywhere. Like that was just I almost said the musical, Hollywood drama, the musical. I really didn't want to weigh in on this, DJ. I really didn't want to talk about this whole thing.
I could talk about it briefly.
Why don't you start, and then I'll say something.
I was part of the few people that actually lived it, unlike all you jambronis jumping on the bandwagon after the fact, like you actually watched the Oscars.
Yeah.
So I watched the Oscars with my wife. It was a lovely time. I actually saw all of the picks except for all of the Best Picture noms except for one this year, so I was actually invested. And she always, before we even met, that used to be her thing. She used to watch all the Best Picture noms and then watch the Oscars. And we had never really done it together, so I got her back into it this year. And we watched all the movies together, and we watched the Oscars. And it was a really good time. It was actually a really good show. It was a good show, like, besides that. Like, It was actually fine. It was moving at a pace. I think everything stopped to a halt after that happened because everyone was, like, confused, and it went really long. But it was a pretty decent show before that. The popular nominees were hilarious because the fanboys the Snyder fanboys just bombarded the Twitter poll, and Snyder's movies won all of those, and they just shoved them like real quick before a commercial break because they were embarrassed that their thing failed. It was amazing.
Do you think they'll never do it again?
No, they'll never do it again. It was amazing.
That should have never been a category. It's preposterous.
Well, it wasn't a real category. It was always intended to be like just this thing, but I don't know if they would have did them so quickly like during the commercial breaks if it had actually worked and wasn't just Twitter trolls.
But I think some of those people were trying to treat it like, oh, like Snyder's winning an Oscar now. Like that's what you don't do with that.
Yeah, it was hilarious. So I really enjoyed it, and then it happening in real time was pretty shocking. Like someone slapping someone on live television for real, and like just my wife pulling up Twitter and just everyone freaking out about it. It was a cool experience, but it kind of derailed the whole show, and like the people right after that I felt really bad for that won their award, and like no one was even paying attention to their speech and stuff. And it was a super unfortunate situation that happened. But I don't know. I'm a little I hate that it's become this huge thing that everyone's talking about. I also it's like everyone's like leaving Will Smith's properties, like no one wants to do movies with him now. It's like this huge thing. But it was a fun thing that night, I'll say. Like just the shock of it, and like because we were just watching a normal show, we weren't expecting it. It was a lot more fun, and then as it's become like this huge meme thing, it's just really, I don't like it anymore. It's not fun anymore. The internet ruins everything.
Yeah, well, it's sad because like a lot of people, of course, don't watch the Oscars anymore, and it doesn't get a lot of press, but it's still huge, of course, for Hollywood, like for the people that are making movies. It still matters to them. Like that's still a real prestigious thing. If you can go through, all the work it takes to get to that point, and then win that award, whether you think certain things deserve that or not, like it's a big deal to them. And so for that to kind of tarnish that night, and is all anybody's talking about, and probably will keep coming up for the next several years every time the Oscars come up, like it's just going to be the anniversary of that crazy thing that happened, like over and over again for a while. It's going to be like, maybe this is a horrible way to put this, but like that's going to be like the 9/11 of the Oscars. Like we're going to constantly talk about that really weird, unfortunate thing that happened, and everybody's got an opinion. It's going to be real. It's going to stay politicized, and that's unfortunate.
Well, that's the most shocking thing to me. Like the fact that we're so polarized and you have to pick a side about everything these days. That there's sides. Like he assaulted someone on public television. There should be no sides. Like, that's crazy.
I agree with that. And I mean, I was hesitant to even weigh in because I know there are a lot of people that condone what he did, and personally, I don't understand that. Like whatever his feelings were, and I don't want to get into all the rigmarole of like he was laughing beforehand, and then
there's a whole bunch of stuff.
His wife apparently gave him a look, and then he changed his whole everything, and like I'm not gonna get into all the details and the particulars. I'm sure a lot of people watching have probably already seen like numerous videos and articles, opinion pieces on this topic. So I don't really have anything new to contribute except to say that if we have to pick sides, I guess I have to begrudgingly be on the side of, I draw the line when you're upset with someone at hitting them. In general, but especially in public, in the middle of like somebody, or like
especially on stage.
It's not just about these people.
Like the man was on stage in front of hundreds of people, in front of maybe millions of people watching live. And if you watch Chris Rock after that, he's just like humiliated. He's got tears in his eyes. Like he was just humiliated in front of everyone. Like it's horrible. Like what? You don't have to pick a side. Like if you think his joke was in bad taste, like you can think his joke was in bad taste and think you shouldn't punch someone in the face. Like,
of course.
You can both be in the wrong a little bit. You don't have to pick someone. Not everything is a boxing match. Like we don't have to pick someone's side. I don't know.
But I guess the question I would ask a person that says, Chris Rock was so in the wrong with the joke he told, and because apparently there's like background leading up to that where he's made fun of Jada Pinkett Smith a lot over time, and there's like a bunch of clips that have surfaced now of times that he's said things. But so like this is bubbled apparently. It's not as much the like random isolated case that it seemed that night. Like apparently there's a history with these people, but what I would ask the people that say that the joke was so off color and so wrong of him to say, however you fall on the humor thing, like if you actually think there are jokes that are just like wrong to ever say and that was okay, would you have been as shocked by that joke if that slap hadn't happened? like, that's kind of my question, is like, because honestly, and I'm saying this in hindsight, I don't think anybody the next day would be talking about that joke. I really don't. Like, if nothing had happened, I don't think, I think it would have gone over everybody's heads, and nobody would have, I don't think anybody would be like, oh, he's making fun of a woman who had alopecia and losing her hair. Like, I don't think anybody would have said anything about it. I think it's because that happened, now we've got to analyze it.
Well, no one said anything about any of the other
Any of the other jokes, yeah.
Nobody said anything about.
And then my second question would be, if every single, and I didn't watch it, I didn't hear any of the other jokes, but I know Chris Rock's humor, and I'm sure he made fun of several other people. If anybody else that he made fun of, their spouse or somebody in their family, all came up on stage and slapped Chris Rock, would you be okay with every single one of them? Like, is this supposed to be the new normal now? Like are there people that really think that if you say the wrong thing on stage, you deserve for somebody to come up and hit you? I don't understand that. I guess now I'm talking about it.
No, I think this is actually the opposite. This is like an old, outdated thing where, like, your pride as the husband, you're supposed to. People are like, he's defending her. How is he defending her? She wasn't in danger.
Can't she defend herself?
The weirdest thing is everyone they literally like cheered when he won the Oscar, like 20 minutes later, and they gave him a standing ovation. And then now everyone's backing out of his stuff because like what, I don't know. That's the shady stuff. Like, did you see Jim Carrey? I like Jim Carrey came out in an interview and called them all spineless because they gave him a standing ovation, and they should have, like, obviously not been okay with that.
Yeah. No, and I completely agree with him, and I thought that interview was really classy. But
John Leguizamo also had an interview, like, literally at the after party right after it, and he, like, said, like, what all we were thinking, like, it's completely not okay. Like, why were people okay with that? It's so weird.
Yeah, it sets a weird precedent, and I don't understand that. Now, at the same time, he shouldn't be blacklisted from Hollywood or canceled or anything.
No, I'm with you. I don't approve of that behavior at all, obviously.
I want to say I'm glad that there are clearly going to be some consequences to him for this, because in the night it seemed like he was getting a complete pass, and it was really strange that you heard a lot of people say, like, anybody else would have been escorted out of the building and things like that. And
yeah, he should have
saying he should have been arrested. At the very least, it's weird that he was allowed to go back on stage for his Oscar, and we not only, it's not even like we pretended like it didn't happen. He, like, apologizes to everybody but the guy he slaps. And
yeah, in the longest drawn out, like, non-apology ever. They did not play dramatic.
And then everyone kept talking about it for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Like, that's way too long to be talking about one slap.
But, like, he's resigned from the Academy and all of that. It'll be interesting to see if that actually ends up sticking overall. And if that's the consequence for it, like, I can see that, and I think that's probably enough if Chris Rock didn't want to press charges, which he didn't.
Yeah.
Then beyond that, I can kind of see, like, maybe certain projects that were about to get off the ground, people being a little bit trepidatious about starting because this is so heavy in the news and they don't know how people are going to feel about him moving on. Personally, I wouldn't let that stop me from making a project, but the idea of just, like, everything shutting down and almost treating it like a Cosby thing where it's like now he just doesn't get to work, I think it'll blow over eventually to some degree. Yeah. I don't think it'll be like that, but the idea that, like, I don't know, for the next couple 3 years or more he's not going to be able to do certain things, probably, that's going too far, I think. So, like, I don't think what he did was okay, obviously, and it wasn't handled right on the night, but then on the other side, we're also going to take the consequences too far.
Yeah, it's all weird. And then you get the whole thing where it was like he made that, like, super long, like, speech where he was crying the whole time about how he was upset, but then there was, like, footage of him at the after party dancing with his Oscar to his own music, which came off hilarious. It's like, oh, so you're not really
any apology
upset.
He makes after that, it's gonna be hard to really buy.
Yeah, and then of
that.
course the well-written apology from his like PR team comes out the next day, where it's like, oh, now he's really sorry, and he apologized to Chris.
We are well after 2 hours, and I've got work to do tonight before I go to bed. So
sorry,
let's try to. Yeah, I knew if that came up, that was probably going to happen, and I thought about just basically going, that was weird, and moving on, but I guess I had things to say. Okay, How
All
many
right.
more super chats do we have at this point?
1, 2, 3, 4.
For anybody that cares, we are currently at $79.21. If anybody wants to help bump it up to the 125 so that I'll make that video I really don't want to make, you've got 4 super chats worth of time to make that happen, and I'm going to rapid fire it as much as possible.
Sweet.
Go ahead.
All right. Bob the Hunt,
Hopefully
$2.
there's nothing philosophical in there.
Did you know that Buffy was based on Kitty Pryde?
I had heard that she was something of an influence for Whedon, but the idea that just flat out based on her, honestly, I think that that's probably going a little bit too far. But I knew that that was certainly an influence, and that's Whedon's favorite comic book character, and he was excited to get to write her when he got to X-Men and comics, and so yeah.
Thomas Lowe 86. How much is the stories that you read or watch from either comic book, TV shows, movies, influence your outlook on life?
Real quick, let me answer something Damn Fine Cup of Coffee just asked. The video, once again, is I'm going to do a reaction and blind commentary on the first episode of Star Trek Strange New Worlds. Which I don't want to watch, but I will do that video if we hit the goal tonight. Anyway,
And apparently I have to do it too.
no, that was a joke. That was I won't
good.
force that. Those things are much of the time not kid friendly, which is weird because it's Star Trek. Give me that super chat one more time, sir.
Sure. How much of the stories that you read or watch from either comic book, TV shows, or movies influence your outlook on life?
I mean, I think that when you're moved by things or stories resonate with you, they're going to impact you in especially subconscious ways that you're not even going to think about, that you're not even going to realize. Like, certainly bits of my outlook and even morality and stuff comes from being raised on Star Trek, from reading Batman stuff, et cetera, et cetera. So yeah, I mean, I guess the easy short answer is quite a bit, but I would have to really psychoanalyze myself to tell you just how much and why. And I think that's got to be true of anybody that immerses themselves in story. And then there's that kind of chicken and the egg question where it's like, how much of it is this story is resonating with me because of what my outlook already is, and how much of it is it's shaping my outlook. And that is sometimes an unanswerable question, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I've gotten to a point where I kind of don't enjoy movies unless they make me think about my life or how I can change my life in some way. I don't do just entertainment movies anymore. Like, I don't have time. Like, a movie has to like change my life for me to, because I have to do so much to make time for movies because you just get so busy when you have adult things to do and children and everything.
Then it feels like a waste of time. So DJ's like, that was escapist and fun. You wasted 2 hours of my life. I'm not there, but
the sweet spot is escapist and fun and can change your life. There's those movies exist. Genre films that can change your life are great. John Ty, $5. Did you know Sean Murphy is writing his 3rd Batman White Knight book, and it's about Terry being Batman Beyond in that universe?
Oh, awesome! I'm excited about that. I didn't know that, and I haven't read the second one yet, but I will eventually. White Knight is brilliant. So good. I've reviewed that. Did that on Batmosphere like a year ago.
Sweet. Oh, thanks for the info, John Ty. Not a normal John Ty question that we would have to noodle for a while, but
which was really nice of him when we're in overtime on the show.
And he made that like 9 minutes ago.
It's way past your bedtime, but we're gonna end it.
It is.
I didn't expect you to say this whole time.
Yeah.
Cap's like, why are you here?
Yeah, I wasn't looking at the clock, and I wasn't because I forgot we started an hour late, and I should have been like, Jason, go to bed, but it's okay.
We got one more from Spedivus
He doesn't
View.
have to
If
get to it.
Trek characters met their actors, how would they get along?
Well, I mean, you kind of got to give me specific characters, right? Like
Let's run through all of them.
Like
Every
all-
Trek
like
character.
all of them?
Jason, pull up the wiki. We'll go through every character.
probably the most interesting pairings to make would be the kind of Vulcan or Vulcan-like stoic kinds of characters. You've got that. I would love to see. Well, I mean, I guess you already kind of have this in I Am Not Spock, right? Go back and read that book, and you have conversations with Leonard Nimoy and Spock talking about Leonard Nimoy's persona and who he is because he played that character and his identity, and there's that question of like, how much of me now is this character, and like, am I Spock or not? And he actually has conversations with the character, really well written dialogue. And so it's interesting that you went to Star Trek specifically with this, because Nimoy had that thought himself and wrote dialogue about it.
T'Pol would be hilarious.
Robert Wilde says.
Yeah, I do think you have some actors that would like tell their characters to like, go figure yourself out or something. Like, get over yourself. Yeah, Blaylock would be like, T'Pol, get over yourself.
Robert Wilde said Shatner and Kirk would probably get along.
Yeah, probably so.
And Mutale said, Deadpool didn't change your life, DJ? And then Daniel Davis said, Ragnarok made him take a second look at his life choices.
Ragnarok's the reason he doesn't watch those kinds of movies anymore.
That's very true. That's why I'm not watching Thor 4. Somebody earlier brought up that the trailer for Thor 4 is coming out soon. Are you excited, Cap?
Oh, I don't even want to watch it.
I don't want to watch that movie either. I think it would be funny if neither of us watched Thor 4 until the Marvel Mini on it, and that was our first viewing.
That would be crazy. Boy, there's a part of me that wants to take you up on that. Honestly.
Love and thunder.
My apologies to folks that are looking forward to that, but I am not. Oh, wow, I didn't know that. Chewbacca's lover claims that Blaylock was almost Elektra in Daredevil.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Which would be nuts if that were the case, because she was in the Enterprise for 2 years before that movie came out. So she would have had a regular TV acting gig and then go play that part. That would have been awful.
I want to see that.
That would have been nuts.
I want to see that.
So no Jennifer Garner, but you love Jennifer Garner, Cap.
I do.
Speaking of,
but I'm just saying I wouldn't want to see Blaylock play that part.
We just watched Juno recently, and that's only 2 years after Elektra, and for some reason, like, she lost a ton of weight between those two movies because her jaw or her cheek, or like, she has like no fat on her face when she was just in Elektra, like 2 years before that in 2005. I was very
well, and honestly, even in Daredevil, I thought that she had kind of an interesting bone structure where yeah, like her face seemed a little bit receded in like that. So so you're saying that you could really see it? Like, that's interesting.
Yeah, she was. Yeah, her cheekbone, it was like very sunken in. Like, I don't know if she did a different role or if she just maybe got tired. Like, she worked out a lot for Elektra, and then she was just like, I'm not doing anything. I'm just gonna not eat and just get skinny. I don't know, but I just noticed that when we were watching it.
People have asked me about like high school actress crushes and stuff. Like when I was younger, like when I was a kid, she was one of the big ones when I was in high school.
Did you watch Alias?
I still have never seen that show.
Oh,
I keep thinking about it. No, just because of Elektra.
Oh, okay.
Well, not that movie, but that character in Daredevil.
Just because of Elektra, man. Well, that's the reason why you got tattoos, too, because you love that tattoo character so much.
Yeah.
All these years later.
Yeah, I was so into Elektra, I just started collecting bed sheets.
You should get a sigh.
I have size.
No, like a tattoo.
A tattoo of a sigh?
Yeah.
Oh, a sigh tattoo.
That's kind of a cool idea. I don't know that I would do it, but that sounds cool. Somebody should get like a big like back tattoo of like two sides.
Two sides crossing. That's what I was thinking.
That'd be cool. Probably not me, but that'd be.
And then he comes back on the show. He's like, "Look at my tattoo, guys!" And rips his shirt off. That's when we go swimming. Is when you want to
Mine would be just one sigh with a dialogue balloon on the sigh that says "I lost a sigh," like Raphael in the 90 Ninja Turtles. I can get it back. I can get it back. That's amazing. Gone.
A couple throw pillows, a TV news reporter. That's what I'd get. You think you could crunch any louder? I could still hear out of this one. Man, how have I not done a commentary? Oh, you did that with Eric. That's why. I freaking love that movie.
We can do it again. Why not? We make it like 89. We'll just have a ridiculous amount of Ninja Turtle 1990 commentaries. Okay, so we did not quite hit the goal. We got to about 80. And thanks to everybody that left Super Chats tonight. Sure appreciate it. I might make that a goal again one more time before Strange New Worlds comes out.
Oh, please don't.
But
I don't want want you to watch.
But I probably won't. Well, and I'm not even saying for sure that I won't watch it. I don't know yet.
Well, you
He
like
needed
pie.
he needed this goal to push him over the edge. He's on the fence.
Yeah, precisely. But anyway, thanks everybody for participating in the show today. Whether you called in or left comments or super chats, you guys are wonderful, and we will see you again. Sorry, I'm starting to fade a little bit. We will see you again next Thursday night at 8 o'clock Central. That'll be the new time for right now. And I will be back again tomorrow night with a discussion overview on Nightfall with
long-awaited.
Kareem and Austin. Really excited about that. We're doing the old 3 trades, so we're doing the first trade Nightfall, and then eventually we'll get to Knights In and Knight's Quest, of course. I kind of hate
They
that we're
sound
not...
like Power Rangers episodes.
I kind of hate that we're not doing the new trades because some of the material that should have been in those isn't. I'll talk about this tomorrow. There's a couple reasons that ended up happening, and we're doing these. But it'll be... It'll be 3 videos instead of the 5 or 6 we probably have to be to break those up. Part of the reason was I was a little bit worried that it would be another series we didn't get a chance to finish, and I want to make sure that we at least do the main stuff with Nightfall. So anyway, pop in tomorrow night if you're so inclined. We're starting at a weird time tomorrow because of schedules and conflicts and things. So 9:30 tomorrow night Central Time is when that starts, and then Sunday night I'm going to be talking about Morbius with Dan. So thanks a lot for watching, folks. We'll see you again real soon. I was Captain Logan. Jason popped in.
Yeah, for almost the entire
For most of the show. Yeah.
Most of it.
And DJ, thanks for all your help, and thanks a bunch for doing this while on vacation.
Of course, man. Wouldn't miss it. It's been the highlight of the vacation. I'm just kidding.
Oh, I hope not. Well, anyway, thanks again, everybody. We'll see you again real soon. Later, folks. Bye.